to Simple Path. We've been away for a couple of weeks. Last we got off, we were dealing with a little bit of a therapy session, as well as communing with people's individual powers. That being Hollow Hollow's patron in the form of Shale, the mistress of the deep waters, personification of all that is hungry beneath the waves, and Siren's now revealed not goddess, but celestial. Maluna, who has no individual name of her own, but that Siren has promised to give her. Last we left off, Siren was practically bouncing out of bed, wake up all of her companions, including also everybody within about a 2 to 3 block radius, which then caused a ripple effect, which resulted in quite a bit of Rubido waking up early, looking for blood and wondering who kicked it off. Thankfully, everybody's too tired and lethargic in the morning to actually go on a blood hunt. One moment, just one moment, I need to see. Okay, speak.
Hello.
Hello.
Wonderful.
Speaking.
Okay.
Howdy.
I had to reboot the application I was using. Now capturing Discord. Lovely. Now we can hear you guys speak.
Yeah, that's what
Good
he
thing
was
we got
asking.
that
He
before.
was like,
I
didn't
"Is
want
audio
it."
good?
Good thing we got that before we got any more than a couple words out. So now everybody will be able to hear your precious voices.
Hooray.
Yay.
Hello.
It is early morning. You are all awoken by the sound of a uncharacteristically cheerful Siren, which is already an accomplishment because out of everybody in the group, she is typically the most chipper and optimistic. With, I would assume, typically probably Flick in a close second, and he's more of a mellow kind of happy and optimistic.
He's a reserved kind.
Yeah, it's a life may go sideways at any moment. I'm enjoying it while it's peaceful, kind of happy.
Well, I'm not on fire.
Yeah, I'm not on fire yet, and I'm at peace with that. You guys are also privy to the sound of angry voices and the smell of fresh baked bread and leafy shoe pastry coming in through the window.
Ooh, shoot! Wait, what pastry? Shoe pastry?
Shoe pastry, as in like the puffy, airy kind.
Oh,
Smells like butter and dough. Also,
dang!
light smell of cinnamon on here.
Cinnamon.
See.
Cinnamon. So,
Cinnamon.
Synonym.
you all awaken, whether you like it or not. Those of you dwelling within the shadows of the corners, those of you rolling out of your perfectly warm and comfy bed sheets, those of you who were up all night deliberating on all sorts of issues, rooting to themselves. I will not calling any names. I'm going to roll something very quickly.
Turn towards the camera.
While I'm doing so, how are you all beginning your morning?
My cookies.
Right.
Oh,
You
right.
remembered that your own cookies
cookies.
exist.
Yes.
I
want my- I
no.
want my cookies.
Yeah, you're not the only one who remembers them. Alright,
Siren is
It is-
just bringing in.
give me your argument. Why do you want them?
Tea and food.
Because if we're all going to be open, I'm being honest. If you don't give me my cookies, it has been weeks. I'll throw you.
Oh yeah. By the way, where are we?
You're in your in room.
Yeah, the in room. Yeah.
In where?
Yeah, I think
Rubito.
we're by like
You know-
Rubido. Yeah.
Given the scope sometimes of that question you ask me sometimes, I don't know whether you're asking where in the world, where in the city, or where in the building.
Okay. City.
You are
I mean, which city?
Rubido, the capital of Rosaina.
Oh, okay. Let me do one thing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. Ah, wonderful. Switch disguises. Have you sawed off your newly grown horn again?
I mean, horns are just a product of testosterone, and now that the devil's gone, my testosterone's gone.
I will withhold comment. If you, all right, so are you?
Thank you.
Are you pairing it off, or are you keeping it on?
I'm going to keep it.
Okay.
It's not that big right now.
Now that you guys are out of the darkness of the warehouse, you can notice light. Anybody who gives Mallory a sideways glance and sees his horn, it's not as big as when you first met him, but it's more than the nub that was like left over when he donned his disguise coming into this country. It's maybe like the length of one of your forefingers, typically. And it's traced by light veins of pink.
Ew.
That's how you know it's healthy.
Totally blood flow. Right. So, it sounds like Mallory has plans for the day. What about everybody else? I know that Siren also said that she's going to be getting some, like, tea and snacks and breakfast.
Well, at least for
Yeah, I
later
have
today.
breakfast ready.
Okay.
At least later for today. At some point, I would like to go to society, because I need access to a library because I need to figure out some questions.
You have a library card.
No, I have a VARC,
There you go. Vark, you're being...
and if not, I can probably get in. I could probably figure out the application process.
Vark,
Surely it won't be that hard, right?
Unfortunately, Vark, you're not being checked out, but you are being used to check things out.
Oh, if we wanted to get him
I could-
checked out
I
again,
could-
we can get the six-armed muscle
No.
girl to come back.
Oh, yeah. She's out there somewhere. You guys just kind of disappeared for her. But yeah, if I wanted to be very cheeky about it, I could say she's Chicoing you out. Anyway.
Ayo.
Ayo. So, that sounds like a plan for Chico and Vark. I don't think I've heard Vark's opinion on the matter. Yay, nay, consent, not consent?
I consent to the endeavor.
Wonderful. So you two are gonna go get your intellectual.
Karya, while we're out here, fish out the cookies out of the bag. Don't eat too many.
I have
When I get back, I'm taking them back.
Well, that only... That is completely fine. And I will not misuse this power in any way.
I
Well,
Now that you have given me a time limit.
Yeah, you
You're
will.
just use that power on here.
I'm just picturing Karya just trying to find every single pocket on his clothing, his bags, everything, and just like pouring cookies into them.
That's true, yeah. If I literally turn this bag upside down, I don't know if they'll keep coming forever,
You've
but
never seen if there's a limit.
I don't honestly want to know.
We just come back to the fucking place, and it's
from-
just completely chill.
From the bird's eye view of God himself, I can tell you right now, you probably don't want to find out if cookies can reach critical mass.
Exactly.
Critical. Oh, Lord.
Cookies, no less. Anyway,
I can. All the talk of cookies makes me want to play Cookie Clicker.
that's what,
Well,
that's what we can call your cohort or tail.
Cookie run.
Aw.
Niche joke. Anyway, going across the line, Chico, Mark, and Mallory seem to have their days sorted out. Karya, besides wolfing down cookies, do you have any plans?
Not at the moment, no. I would like to potentially... let me think on it. I have to get my sick brain going, please.
Siren, besides organizing breakfast, getting everybody fed and caffeinated, once everybody starts to depart, do you have anything planned for the day?
Not in particular.
Hmm?
So
No, I would
the
say
whole like
if you guys
crime
could-
family thing
Hmm?
that kind of just ended because instead of finding the family, we found the devil instead. So I don't know what
I
our
mean,
next
the
move
crime
is.
family issue has not so much gone away as changed because she's now taken the place of that
Yeah.
crime syndicate. Well, yeah. I was gonna say before I interrupted you. I'm very sorry. That
Mhm.
there is an entire city out there. You guys don't have any particular plans? You're always free to explore it.
You know what? When we all finish breakfast, Siren's gonna get up and say, "Do you know what? I don't think I've done this in a long time. I'm going to have a bit of a self-care day." And she's gonna go and try and find a bathhouse. Anyone who wants to
Ooh.
join me, feel free.
Being pampered. Okay.
Vark looks towards Igo.
What?
I will go.
Would you care for some pampering? Or anyone else? There's not really any pressure.
Being pampered sounds like a you thing. He gestures towards Chico.
Scratches her head. She scratches her hair and goes, "Not today, I need to figure something out."
I will go.
Flick is
Oh.
probably munching on some breakfast during all this listening in, and his ears are kind of perking up, but he's not saying anything right away.
Kari, if you're going to go to a bathhouse, give me those cookies. You do not want to get those soggy.
Oh, actually, wait.
Oh, you gave him the cookies.
Yes.
Actually, yeah.
I was
that's
going-
soggy.
I'm going out. I give them to him to keep himself occupied while I'm gone. But if he's going to get wet, I don't want those cookies to be ruined.
I'm not going to get wet in my clothes, Chico. I have some class.
You do?
Unlikely.
Occasionally.
Yes, it's Dragon.
Fine, ruin your cookies. They're yours. I don't care.
Yes.
He has some class sometimes. It's called Dragon Rider.
When I come back, they're still mine.
Just do be careful with them. And Flick, have you ever been pampered before? Have you ever been to a spa before?
I can't recall the last time I ever did. I mean, maybe during my sellsword days. I mean, not that it was that long ago, but at the same time, after all the shit that's just gone down, I mean, I don't know. Maybe a spa day wouldn't fit it too much. I mean, it'd certainly help with all the tension.
I've only. Oh, absolutely. I would imagine so. I've only been to a very small one at a friend's house in the village I used to live to. I've never been to a proper big bathhouse though. So I suppose we'll see what we can find. And,
Gotcha.
I guess the bathhouse group will get ready and I guess maybe ask the person at the front desk of this inn for any recommendations on a bathhouse.
That's Karya, Flick, and Siren going for a bath. Hello, that leaves you. Have you got anything planned for the day?
I got nothing planned, but I'm Holo, the happy journeyman. I'm just gonna wander around the city and see if anything happens.
Beautiful. Okay. We're gonna get the full breadth and the full breadth of the experience of Rubido today. Delving into the intellectualism,
Yeah.
going to go get a pamper and indulging in the luxury that the city has to offer. And then there's the middle option. Having a walkabout, wandering, doing a bit of sightseeing, seeing what you run into. I love it. Okay. Okay. Who to go with first? Oh, closest proximity. So, the bathhouse group. That being Siren captaining it, followed by Kari and Flick. As you go down, now dressed, filled with tea and breakfast, you inquire at the front desk with yes, it's a young half-elven man with a short cropped black hair, slicked back with pomade. Greets you as you come down. You approach the desk and says, I see. You're hoping to sample the bathhouses here. Well, we're not quite as luxurious as the bathhouses in Naya. But we do have our own fairly impressive waterworks here, facilitated by the very generous mages of the Magical College. Magical Institute, I should say. If I was going to give you a recommendation, I would say... His eyes go to you, Siren, and then to Karia, and Flick, and says, No, Rose District probably wouldn't be for the best. Not while in the company of a lady. There is a place, perhaps a couple streets down, if you go by the sun, a couple streets southeast, there should be a rather large intersection surrounding a large fountain. Take a right at that intersection, and then about half a street down is one of Rabito's more modest bathhouses. They charge a reasonable rate. They have a good selection of oils and soaps, and they're not too picky about who they let in.
Oh, that sounds accommodating.
I figured that your group may appreciate that. They also are well reputed and known for not trying to do anything underhanded, if you get what I mean. But most importantly,
yes, I would hope so.
some of the more premium bathhouses may turn you away at the door simply for the fact that you're not... Well, some require invitations or require membership to go in, so you must be introduced by a pre-existing member, or they simply turn you away at the door if you're not of the preferred clientele. These tend to be the ones that prioritize business with nobles. They also tend to be fronts for nobles to meet and speak about affairs in private. So even if you were to gain access to one of those, I would be very careful.
I see.
Do they allow dragons? Points to Vair.
I doubt it's ever come up. I'd suggest asking them yourself. I can't possibly tell you. That question had to be asked directly to the higher management when your dragon was allowed in here. Tips his bellboy's hat to Vair. I mean, no disrespect to you, sir. Then Vair, back on his haunches, head high, goes, none taken. As the man at the desk says, your brother here has proved himself to be very civilized, which was a previous worry. They've gone unnecessary. But they may have the same concerns if you go there. It's an unfortunate stereotype given to anything on four legs. So you may have to ask. They don't typically allow animals into baths here. It's a hygiene concern, but it's usually more of a concern for creatures that shed quite a lot. So he for instance, your elven friend, if you were to bring his coconut rats, the large rodents that he takes with him, if you were to bring those with him, I noticed their fur is on the hydrophobic side, and they don't shed. And so they would be less of a concern. I assume there's some form of semi-aquatic animal.
Actually, wait a minute. Flick, are you going to be allowed in the bathhouse? Do you shed?
They do have accommodations for cats.
Oh, good.
Good.
They have mist baths for those who prefer to groom themselves. They also have soaps that help with the shedding process before you then step into the bath, so that you leave a little to no mess behind.
Good. Hate to leave a bunch of stray hairs for some poor worker to have to clean up all the time.
That is very considerate of you, and I'm sure they'll appreciate it. If you're looking
Hey,
Sorry.
I mean, hey, it could be worse. I could lose all my hair. Just kind of stares
he looks
or
looks at
kind
you
of glowers over at Mallory.
This entire time, he's been trying very hard not to look you on the forehead, and has been trying very, very assertively kept eye contact with you. His eyes have not drifted. Consummate professional. His eyes have not drifted upwards.
No one's ever seen a tabaxi with a balding problem before.
Oh
A
no.
receding hairline.
Whose uncle is this?
So yes, I'm sure they'll be able to help you. Excuse my impropriety. They also have soaps on offer that are supposed to help promote hair growth for the discerning gentleman that may be concerned with that. If you're looking for prices to make sure, communal baths are at about 24 silver for each entry. If you're looking to book one of the individual private baths, they have them in a range of offers. They're all much smaller than communal baths, but they're much more intimate. They're much more consistently heated, and they tend to have a much wider array of cosmetics and soaps and oils on offer just in there, and they don't charge you extra for using them. They're included in the price. However, to book one of those for a few hours, independent of how many people you bring in, so it's not per head, it is 200 gold.
Makes sense. Well, I think we should go for the accommodating one, most likely. So, which one did you say that was again?
Excuse me. There was there's a flyer he's been fumbling with under the desk that he's been reading off of. He flips it over and goes, yes, that's the name. That could be right. He flips it over again. Again. There's no name on it.
I suspect
There's no
treachery
name.
afoot.
You know, I've gone there several times myself, and we've been directing clients there for a while. Nobody's ever asked the name. And
Interesting.
I've never thought to think of it. Now that I think about it, I just recognize the entrance. Oh, is there proof that their advertising works?
Have you been there yourself?
It's on a couple occasions when I can afford it.
And you remember the entrance and the experience, but not the name.
Yes, the entrance is the building itself is built out of gray bricks, rough hewn. It's even got little stems of ivy climbing up the side, and the front door itself is an iron gate arch that is wound through with various colored roses.
Well, looks at Karya, looks at Vayu, looks at Flick. I think for our group, we of course want something accommodating, while also being a very pleasant, nice experience. So, which one do you guys think? This one or one of the others?
Bathhouse, so I don't care.
Mhm.
Also, I got no preference either way.
This nameless one piques my curiosity. Does it say where it's located, or would you be able to direct us in the direction?
Well, for a moment he hesitates for a second. I did mention directions. If you
My bad.
If you go a couple streets length southeast, there should be an intersection with a large fountain,
Oh yes.
3-tiered. And if it's not 3-tiered, you're probably in the wrong place. Take a right at the fountain, and then about a half a street's length. You should find it somewhere on that street. And yes, if you can afford it for yourself, I absolutely recommend the pampering experience. You can pay extra if you wish to have people come in and give you a massage, lather in the oil for you, for hair care and skin care. There are Some very accommodating staff there, and as I said, everything is above board.
Very good. Do you both have the gold for it?
I believe I have enough.
I do too. So I guess we'll go there then.
Wonderful. I do hope you have a good time. It's all well and good to
Also,
to travel
Also-
and to pursue business, but to pamper oneself every now and again makes it all very worth it. You were saying.
I was about to say, I also hope that we find the name of this place.
If you do find it, come back and tell me. I can't believe it slipped my mind to even think about it.
Not to worry, we will.
I mean, unless this place is doing something a bit under the counter, but I mean,
Hope not.
based on what you've said, I don't think that's likely.
Seems an odd thing to be chicanerous about.
You know, clandestine bathhouse? That's a new one.
It is the kind of thing I would expect more out of the installments in the Rose District than someplace more reputable. Yes, I hope you have a good time.
Of course.
We await your return with open arms and a warm welcome.
Thank you very much.
Right on.
And he goes back to organizing stuff and every now and again, throwing a glance at the pamphlet.
So yeah, I guess we'll go look for it. Following his
Yes.
directions.
A sunny spring day. Early in the morning, light. The sun is skating across the, across the stony rooftops, the rust-red shingles of the roofs of the city of Robita. The smell of flowers is stronger in the air than ever, accompanied by the pleasant waft of fresh bread, coffee, and the sound of birds chirping. There's the smell of roses that underlies everything here within the city, as well as the sound of life beginning to kick in. A city that barely ever sleeps, though it does occasionally take a rest. It's now fully waking up to hear children laughing in the distance, carts rumbling across cobblestones, boots on rock, doors and signs swinging open as establishments open for the day, as well as the burble of water in fountains all over the city in the distance. Public fountains and drinking fountains are every few paces here. Or, true to the bellhop's words, the city has a very impressive waterworks system where you can go maybe 50 feet and there will be a public drinking fountain. And then at the end of every street or every second street, at every major intersection, there's a large fountain where people throw themselves in, children splash and giggle and throw water at one another. Mothers dip towels and rags into the fountain to lay across their child's forehead to help them cool off in the mounting sun. The city is slowly waking up. The sun rises, casting it all in a stark light that reflects with a subtle gold undertone. Good morning, Rubito. As the three of you make your way down the street, you find yourself, as the man at the counter described, at a large three-tiered fountain, atop which is posed a woman in what can only be described as a flowing toga with pleats. Around in one hand is held a great orb around which, bobbing in circles, unassisted by anything visible, are four smaller orbs that she holds all of them high, as if offering them to the sky. Long, curled hair billows in an unseen wind, held in stasis by carved marble. And from the palm of her hand, trailing between fingers and down her arm, water trickles and flows in pools in the fountain. Taking a right, past families strolling, individuals, adult and young, making their way to their individual jobs or whatever might occupy them this day. The chatter in the street begins to pick up. You see windows and balcony doors opening up as elderly men and women sit on large iron chairs, reclining in their chairs on the balconies over a cup of coffee as they either talk in a rather loud tone to one another or just settle for subtly glaring at everybody on the street below. People watching, but with a skosh more intensity. Seems to be a popular pastime here. You pass under many judging eyes as you walk through the streets of Rubido, and eventually find yourself in front of the iron arch that is overgrown with rose bushes of different colors. Flanked on either side by tan brick. This seems to be the place the man at the desk described.
Is there a plaque where it says the name at all?
Give me a perception check.
Okay. I'll use guidance with the aid of my cool best friend.
Mm-hmm. For 21.
As a 20.
So, looking around, there is not a plaque. There's not a sign. There's not one hanging off the side of the building, dangling in the wind. There's not one high above. There's not embedded in. It's not embedded in the stone in front of you, like at your feet. But what you do see, like next to the arch, on the brick, is a slightly lighter portion of the brick, which you would have to assume is where a sign might have been beforehand. Now, on closer inspection, you do see two small holes evenly distanced apart at the edges of the lighter portion of brick, where one might have put bolts or screws in for a sign.
Are there any other signs that it's being this place is being possibly renovated?
Not as far as you can see.
And is there anyone on the outside to greet us?
No. Now that you're closer to the entrance, though, there is the smell of roses that is normally the undercurrent of the city is now overpowering, as it's immediately just overwhelming your olfactory senses. It's strong floral scent.
So Siren goes, well, I suppose we'd have to ask we have to ask someone on the inside for the name. And
Is it bad that I'm hoping we eavesdrop on some sort of gossip while we're in there?
No, not at all.
No. We do have the cookies for that, but hearing it directly in your ears is it's a different experience.
Yeah, speaking
Being
of
straight
which,
from the horse's
actually,
mouth
wait
is
a
a different
minute.
experience here.
Wait a minute, actually, this is perfect. If I remember correctly, don't the cookies grab the nearest rumors?
Yeah, I think so. Although, did we ever discover the radius of that, or because we don't know if it's
Apparently.
30,000 miles?
Well, it's big enough that it covers the whole town that we were in when we were over in
Yeah.
over near
Yeah.
what the fuck is the name of Guillermo's kingdom? I can't remember its name.
Morbus.
Lorbus. Thank you,
Lorbus.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, my understanding is that it covers the whole town and grabs the most commonly spoken rumors.
Mhm.
But I could be misremembering.
I vaguely remember it. It's been a while since we've actually used these, so
Mhm.
Yeah.
munch.
Oh, okay.
Oh, those damn
Just an
cookies.
image of Karya just coming up to the doors, going like, "Oh right, yes, we have these," and then just reaching in, grabbing one, and then shoving it in his mouth, in his gob. Right. Okay. Like a bag of popcorn, he shoves his fist in, comes out with salted caramel cookie.
Ooh,
There's got little chunks of salted caramel inside the dough.
tasty.
Has sweet, kind of creamy, salty, like chewiness. Gets caught between your teeth. It's embedded there for a little bit as you crunch through the cookie. With little chunks in it, sticky and stretchy, and kind of like one point actually like almost glue your teeth together at one point until you manage to like chisel it out with your tongue and swallow that. And while you're doing that, here, and they found him beaten and broken on the doorstep. Say there's somebody new, and they say there's new management in town.
Well, that's understandable that would be the talk of the town, actually, all things considered.
Considering there's a crime family living here, there's probably a lot of shady stuff going on.
Well, even then, fucking the new management.
Yeah. The thing is, we have no way of directly correlating that to this establishment, or it could even be talking about like the inn we were
Oh
staying
yeah,
at.
I know that. I realized that chomping down on one of these, I probably should have already guessed what it was.
Yeah.
Mm. What'd you hear?
It appears as though the crime family is making their name already known.
Oh. Can I try one?
Are you sure?
I mean, the rumors, they're not necessarily true.
Yes.
That's
Just do you remember
interesting.
the last time that we? Oh well, actually, that was a splitting one.
That
Yes,
was a
fine.
shared cookie. We should do that again.
Siren, I'm aware that that Vair has said some things, but I don't believe I'm ready to do that again.
I'm not ready either. I was intending to just have one cookie by myself.
As long as you're sure of that.
Yes,
trying
I'm
to
quite
share
sure.
any burden you want together. I mean, he's already raised one egg.
That is, Vair, I'm going to need you to.
Listen,
I'm going to need you to forget how to speak.
Listen, there are
I've
things I'm
spent
willing to
months
risk in
learning it.
life,
Don't you
but
tell me. Don't you police me?
sometimes got to nip it in the bud.
Wait, what was that like?
There are some things I'm willing to risk in life, but then there are some things some things you just got to nip in the bud.
Fair point.
Anyways,
Mhm.
may I have a cookie? Right?
Did you not hear that? Oh, I'm sorry. I said yes. I can hand you one from my
Oh.
pocket of crumbly cookies.
Someone
Yeah.
cast silence on Karya. Damn it.
Yeah.
Cookie. This
I'll
other
accept a
caramel
cookie.
like glued his jaws stuck together for a moment. Here.
He just says through gritted teeth, "Yes, reach into the bag."
So, okay. You
Take
fish out
it.
another cookie.
I will take it.
Okay. Let's see. Fish out another cookie. Up comes interesting looking one. It's a flatter cookie, but with little black bits in it.
I'll look it over and pop it into my mouth. Eat it.
You get the immediate, like you chew through. You get the sweet dough, crumbly cookie, and then you finally bite into one of the chunks. And the flavor goes across your tongue, and you immediately get the strong, overpowering taste of aniseed, black licorice.
Oh.
Mm.
An acquired taste.
Siren kind of, yeah. Siren kind of winces a little bit and goes, I don't think I quite like that one.
Yeah. For reference, the flavor when I roll the my die for the cookie, it both determines, because we've been over this before. It determines the type of cookie and the quality of the flavor, as well as the rumor that is generated. And that was a 1. So.
Oh.
Not necessarily
Not good.
disgusting, but it's an acquired taste for a lot of people. Be careful of the marble
Yeah.
cookies.
Oh boy.
It's awful when Vegemite. Now, onto the Magical Exploratory Fair, hosted just outside of the Magical Institute. Now, if you're looking to invent, or host any prospective magical student here looking for a host family, or looking to apply to the university, come check out the fair. We've got games, we've got prizes, we've got food, we've got wizards dancing like monkeys. If you're interested, pop on down today.
Ooh, there's a magical fair going on outside the Magical Institute. I'm assuming, Quest, that is
The big magical
the-
university.
yes, that place we were at.
No.
It sounds very interesting. Oh
No.
no?
You went to the Society Quadratica.
Oh, it's not there.
Not there. We call it the Rubito Institute of Magic, which is the
Oh, right.
single largest
Oh.
magical university on the continent, and the big powerhouse university here within the city. And also where like most magical advances within the country come out of.
I gotcha.
Its campus is massive, as well as its student body.
And a madness. Craziness
Yes,
all
they-
over the city. Kids eat for just $5.
Oh my god.
Sunday, magical
Sunday.
You know, the unrelated, but you know the guy who made that like super popular died on a Sunday.
God.
Damn.
I only know that because he was from the area I live in, and his obituary said, John Wilkers, or whatever the fuck his name is, died on Sunday. Or as he would have liked to know, Sunday. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way that is his obituary.
Right, Frank? Why is it
Yes.
every time when you say, it's funny you say that, I know it's immediately going to follow up with somebody's obituary.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
It's becoming a trend.
It's becoming a concerning trend.
Yes. So anyway,
Anyways,
there's a bathhouse in front of you. Do you want to just stand here in the front entrance munching cookies?
No,
Mm.
let's go inside.
indeed, I'm concerned about the... Well, I don't see anybody, but I don't suppose that's actually out of the ordinary. Let's go.
Hmm.
I don't know how
I
these
s-
things work.
I sneak a hand into the cookie bag.
Crunch.
Crunch.
Hmm. Like,
Yes.
what is your favorite flavor of pastry?
Good question. Let me think. What would you... I want to say maybe something chocolatey.
How dangerous to give a cat chocolate.
The cookie that comes out is a relatively large one. The one that Siren pulled out was quite flat. It was kind of like you put a little bit of, I'm sure the thing snaps into wafer thin. This one is chunkier. It's got like a mound shape to the top of it, and as you hold it, it's got a slightly puffy texture, like a sort of a bit of a give to it.
Gotta look both ways, make sure no one's watching, to carefully slip it into his mouth and munch it.
You get the delicious, creamy texture and flavor of the no chocolat going over your
Hey!
Oh.
Nice.
Very good.
They say he passed through town recently. He had that sword on his hip again. Riding that frozen ship of his. He makes porters sometimes, usually to throw his weight around, but also because he's on the lookout for something. I'm not sure. Nobody knows what. He's looking for something.
Look's eyebrow will raise a bit and one of his ears will twitch.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll make a mental note of that.
Are you coming, Flick?
Oh yeah. Just admiring the architecture. Don't worry about me.
Okay. As the three of you enter the bathhouse, we will switch perspective for a moment. Then we will go to the Society Quadratic. Specifically through our headquarters building. Passing through its large doors, Vark and Shaiko step in. With the help of his horloge, allowing him entrance, without needing to knock or be let in. You trespass into the building. Again, that same gnome is sat at the front desk, busily scribbling away at something. New for you, since you're here for the first time, Shaiko, is the plethora, the sheer volume of the decorations within this massive hallway. There's grand preserved bones hanging from the ceiling, one from a strange, massive creature whose skull structure is positively alien looking. It might be some form of must creature.
What knowledge at the roll?
That'd be knowledge nature. There's a mounted head of a dragon far above the desk. There's trophy items of all sorts, patches, quilts, framed images. With a 24, you would recognize the skeletal structure as being that of a large whale.
Okay.
Being prominently right over the center of the hallway. Coming up to the front desk, the gnome greets you and says, welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks, I believe. How are you doing, Vark? You settling into your role all right? Vark, are you muted?
Uh-oh.
Are you alive?
I was in the kitchen making coffee.
See.
Hello.
Hello.
Please catch me up to speed.
Well,
We're in society.
You, Chaco, have just gotten to the front hall of the society.
Alright. Oh, walking up the stairs towards the big doors. Vark, before he actually pushes the door open, stops and turns to Shaiko. Alright. besides your registration here, yes? Is that correct? Is that your purpose?
Well, it's kind of dual. I need two things, really. I wouldn't. First and foremost, I need to know. I need to see if I can figure out what my father made. And secondly, it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to register myself.
Well, if you're here to register, that is the first question you should ask yourself, is whether you want to. I understand that the benefits that the society may offer you can be quite tantalizing, but for the same reason, we don't necessarily just give that away. We do require some reciprocity. There will be, if you were to sign up. That is assuming you show the expected interest and can prove your willingness to study a specialized topic of your choosing. That also means we have expectations of you and contributions that you're expected to make to the society on a regular basis.
How possible would that be with a rather nomadic lifestyle, would you think?
We have quite a few members who are constantly on the move. It's the nature of being explorers and adventurers, delving into new frontiers of knowledge. However, most of these individuals have ways of either keeping in contact, or they have a solid home address which we can continue to communicate through, delivering and receiving from regular correspondence. These are also places which they make regular stops back at. This would require you have a residence of some sort, or at least an address where we would know you'll be there, hopefully at least once a month at minimum.
We have one such address.
I
We
understand.
do?
The Tower for formerly Lydia Fanaya de la Rosa.
How often do you believe you'll be making stops there?
I cannot promise to be there every month, but I do promise or plan to return there as often as I
We
can.
do have the message golems, all things considered.
That's true.
It's not a foolproof
If we
process.
receive a missive from you or someone else, we will be informed of it.
Hmm.
From there on, it is only a matter of returning to the tower.
And as I understand it, your primary goals find you going rather far away from that tower.
At the moment, yes.
Do you have another potential place where we can continue and keep correspondence? I have doubts about your ability to visit back there on a regular basis.
Well, but the only place we could mention would be, name, the Mordaunt Confederacy. I don't think we're heading that way again, are we?
Where? Out towards...
Sorry, I will have to say you're not in the scene.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the Mordaunt Confederacy. I guess I more put that towards Vark.
Well, if you have someone there who's willing to receive correspondence and pass it along, it can work. The Mordaunt has a fairly capable and comprehensive mail house there.
We know a person who probably wouldn't mind. I need to go back to him at some point too.
Make things very clear.
Anyway, sorry.
The minimum required obligation that we expect from you is a report, not necessarily a compilement of all your findings so much as a regular report correspondence, just to know we know you're alive and you're making progress in your research, about once every 3 months. Well, how often we expect some correspondence. If you go longer than 6 months, you get worried. If you're gone for more than a year, typically assume you're dead or you're in Hermitage. In which case, we tend to stop mailing and keep any like correspondence or new encyclopedia volumes on back order until such a time as we've reestablished contact. This is important because just as we share our knowledge with you and we offer services and connections with other members of the society who can offer their expertise, we expect you to contribute as well, whatever your specialized
It's only fair.
Field may be. We want you to contribute to the library, but we also want to help promote and spread whatever knowledge you manage to find and make it available for the betterment of the world.
Well, I don't know if I can't offer too much off the top of my offer right now, but if I figure something out today, I just might be able to.
Well, in that case, I'd say consider it for now. Don't jump into it. It is a big obligation, as well as the fact that you do not have a solid place of residence from the sound of things, which will make things considerably more difficult. For no other reason than the fact that you won't have anywhere to store the books. But I will say, Vark here is a registered member. He is so for at least the next 10 years. He has full liberty to bring you into the library with him and peruse the shelves. You may just the only caveat on that is you may not take anything out. Even though society members can only withdraw one book at a time unless they are of seniority. Typically, exceptions are only made in cases of emergency.
That's completely understandable. Even if I were to find something interesting, I don't think I'd want to keep it, simply due to the fact that I will be moving around a lot. So I don't plan to take anything, really.
Then my recommendation is take all the time you need to browse. We will not kick you out. The library is open at all hours of the day, so long as a verified member of the society is there to vouch for you. So, read to your heart's content. Find what you need to find. There's a good chance that there's something in there that's suiting whatever niche interest you may be investigating. And if at some point we might find you among our numbers, and you are plumbing the depths of a previously poorly explained phenomena, and elucidating it for the betterment of all humanoid kind, then I think we'll be very blessed to have that. But for now, it sounds like you're not quite sure, and until you're sure, I don't think you should register.
That's fair. That's understandable.
Well then, Vark here is already familiar with the categorization system of the library. He can show you around just fine.
Turns to Vark.
I trust you both will behave yourselves while you're in the library. I need not say much more. Seem like a very welcoming.
Thank you. I do try to keep my appearances up in check. So Vark, you were there last time. Do you have any idea what? I guess anything based on Gollumancy would probably be the best place to start. Yeah. But they're not. What's something like a golem that isn't a golem?
What are you looking for specifically?
I don't know.
Try to narrow
I'm
it
trying.
down.
To tread over already spoken stories. Remember, my father, as I mentioned, my father, he made items, or he had items, I should say, that, thinking back, they talked, but they weren't golems. He never made golems, but if they're not golems, how do they speak?
So,
I'm trying to figure out what that could be.
we could investigate into any records of your father specifically, considering his widely renowned name, from what I understand. Or
Turns towards the librarian with the
Raises a knife.
with a well, a slightly downtrodden smile. Do you know the name Feldgor Kunstrel? Kunstrel?
maybe not you personally, but has there ever been a record of the name?
One moment.
He was
Yes.
in
He
strong
opens
contact.
he opens a large drawer at the foot of the front desk, draws it out, and it goes for a while. He draws it out further, and there's just folders upon manila envelopes filling this drawer as it draws back. First 10, then 20, 30, all the way up until it's up against the wall. And ka-chunk. And he starts pacing along it, running a finger along the tops of the envelopes. We have no record of Falgor among our membership. Nor Kunstel.
Not members, associates rather, suppliers,
Associates.
maybe.
We do keep a logistics record of people we purchase from and companies we keep steady business with. This is for matter of contact details and such. Do you know what region this person operated in?
Titan's arm.
Sorry, that narrows things down considerably. We don't have a lot of connections there. People that tend to be a little
Specifically-
bit more
Specifically Speed Smart.
Sweet smart. Okay. In that case, we're probably looking at artisans of different types. So he slides the long drawer shut with a clunk. Goes to the other side of the table and draws another one out. This one draws back 50 feet, all the way up against. This one he just kind of yanks. It slides all the way back, hits the back wall, and you see the whale bones above you shake for a moment. May have done that with a little bit too much force. And then Kunstel. We don't have a Felgor. We do, however, have. We have a Kunstel here.
He raises an eyebrow.
First name Joharik. That's Joharik. He fishes the folder out, leaves through it. Owner of Joharik and Sons. Yep, there's Felgor. That's youngest. Okay, so this Joharik did work in conjunction with the Society on multiple occasions. Had 3 sons, youngest of which was a Felgor. Ran a forge in Fitzmarn, and would on occasion make various items out of iron and steel, and other smaller special orders with a little bit more detail. They were typically more of a, from the looks of it, they were more like the horseshoe and nail kind of blacksmith, and less the sharp steel and field kind of blacksmith. They were really, they weren't really the type that a typical adventurer would approach. They were more village blacksmiths. But there were a couple mages in our group who approached one there. That's interesting.
What is it?
Apparently, After a long multi-decade partnership, one of our members married this Ulrich. Oh. Well. Happy ending. It says here that business continued for a time. And then about 30 years ago on the record, shows that several of the sons went their own way, hoping to build up their own shops. As you do, left on their own journeys to go solidify their capabilities. And that's as much record as we have of a Felgor install.
Well, nothing is ever easy.
I mean, honestly, I could probably find a deeper records if I actually go into the back, but that is probably going to require that I do that after hours. I do need to man the desk.
If you want, if you can, I would very much appreciate that. If you can't, there's no issue.
Could we check those records? Or are
No,
they not
those are
beholden?
purely confidential.
Hmm.
Well, Vark. I guess we look at, I don't know,
Oh,
Golem stuff.
Golems. Why,
The
why
closest.
Why specifically golems?
Oh, sorry, I guess I was speaking too quietly to myself. My father, Felgor I mentioned.
Your father. Let's see.
Yes. Thinking back when I was young, at his forge, he would have these items that they talked. And I guess I never thought about it looking back, but I thought about it today, or yesterday. And I don't know what they were.
It's most certainly interesting. First time I've
They
heard-
weren't
First time
They weren't golems, but they talked.
And these were what sorts of items? Hats, knives, belts.
Just various items. I think it's been a while since I had to think about it. I think I remember like a sword. I think there was a hammer at some point.
Well,
just random things.
most certainly makes sense that a child raised in such conditions would consider that normal, and not even think a second thought about it. That doesn't sound like golems though, because golems are almost always formed in some sort of humanoid shape. The point behind golems, they can fulfill purposes in situations that might be otherwise too dangerous for a humanoid to fulfill, also as a bodyguard for most mages. It sounds like some variant of magic items. I don't know what might result in someone just simply spontaneously gaining the ability to speak. Whether or not that's a happenstance of magic or actual sudden sentience. It sounds like your father was a collector of these, or possibly even made them. Which in that case is truly
I don't remember.
I'm sorry, I personally can't help you much, but we do have records going back centuries here. I'm fairly sure that if you were to look in the constructs section, or possibly in one of the sections covering the various types of magical artifacts and items, you may find something. I doubt it's going to be under the categorization of golems, though. Hopefully that helps.
I was very much assuming it wasn't going to be golems. Just didn't. That's just a close thing I have experience to compare with. But
And that's perfectly all right.
and I thank you very much for your kindness and and your knowledge. I think it's about time I get looking. I
Find
think
what
I'm
you're
gonna
looking
be here a long. I think I'm gonna be here a long time.
Very well then. I hope you find what you're looking for. Bark, you look after her. I'm going to sit here and look pretty. As he once more slides the drawer on the desk shut and sits up on the big leather chair.
She'll do a little slight bow and nod and then walk off.
Give you a nod of respect.
All right, what do I gotta roll now to start this fiasco? I'm signing the magical items and artifacts.
Wonderful. In this case, I'm going to ask for a perception. As you
Oh
go
boy!
looking through the shelves.
May I roll as well, or is this?
You may.
I'll probably roll myself, all things considered. Especially since I can enhance.
You're familiar with this.
concentration. Well,
You're more familiar with this place. Go off, King.
yeah.
Oh boy.
Uh,
Going off indeed.
15! Woo!
Woo!
Not my name.
Tycho.
Nice.
Tycho rolls a 19. I should probably roll this on my own. I can enhance it. Rolls a nat 1. Gets a total of 13. Adds inspiration. Plus 2. 15. You love to see it. So, Vark, you've never been to this section of the library before. Before, you were looking into things like planes and energy and conjuration magic and disappearing villages. You do see that the now somewhat, actually no, it's because the enchantments, that bright red bookmark you left poking out of the shelves as you pass that section of the library again. Still undisturbed, still back where you left it. Maybe that distracts you for a little bit because
Yeah.
eventually you're wandering through the shelves, your mind occupied by that moment you shared with Sirin, and everything about that, and also the fact that, yeah, now that you're back, you see that the blood staining that bookmark is brighter than anything you've ever bled before. In fact, you're fairly sure that before you left the Plane of Shadow, you didn't bleed. Or at the very least, you didn't bleed blood. So, maybe that's a little something that once more resurfaces to badger you in your mind. Meanwhile, Chaiko is on a one-woman mission with laser focus, hampered somewhat by the unfamiliar surroundings and this new sorting system that she has to learn how to use, which does eventually find her way to the subsection on the creation, maintenance, and categorization of magical items and artifacts. It's there that I'm now going to ask for a knowledge arcana. Now
Woo!
that you found the section, you're going to look and find the books.
Ah.
You get 13.
Me too? Yes, no?
Absolutely, you may.
Well, hopefully not on that one this time around.
The
Of course.
duality of man rolls a nat 20, gets a 33.
Once again.
Plus
This
2.
happens a
35.
lot.
Holy shit.
First to 15, no, 35. Wonderful.
It's getting to the point that I'm starting to get worried.
Don't be.
Or having a galaxy brain moment.
So, Vark, once Chaiko reaches this section and stops in her tracks, and you just kind of, as you're just kind of spaced out, we're pacing along behind her, just following her back. It comes to a stop, and then you come to a stop. And then, as if shaken from the thoughts, look up, and suddenly, you're in the magic item section. Do you have anything you would like to say in terms of how you're looking for this. Try to think of inventive ways of spicing up searching through a library. Not
Well,
coming.
I randomly pull up books. No, I'm kidding.
Pull them out of
So-
the ground.
So
Hmm?
there's, I'm sure, various sections about magic items.
Oh, yes.
There's
There's ledgers and logs of we got kept like there are some that you see marked as having come from the Robido Institute of Magic that catalog all of the thesis items created by the various graduating alumni. Something you've become familiar with is the concept of the fact that all students at the university have to create a magic item or pen a spell as a thesis to cap off their education, which is then either kept in the vault at the university or is destroyed if it's seen as being too useless or too destructive. And there are ledgers here that apparently were probably donated from the university, which like have long lists of all these items and spells that were crafted. You see indices for tracking various different types of magic items, some of which have like big stamps on the front face that say defunct, because they we got the catalog, the categorization system they use was too broad or too specific or didn't take into account a particular type of magic. And it's just, there's encyclopedias, because as with any library where there's donated works, there's so many that were also in their own time just bloat. So yes, there is a lot of material here, and just the shelves span upwards and wide ways for a very long way. For every magic item that is commonplace and has a household name, things like bags of holding and brooms of flying, there is 100,000 other ones that are things like Bob's Bag of Beans, which was crafted by the wizard Bob at the University of Rosino as his thesis project. What does it do? It allows you to draw out a handful of beans once per day.
once per day.
Once per day.
I guess you like beans for dinner.
Or breakfast. Or lunch. But only one of
Yeah.
those. Yes. There are some... because of the exhaustive and the ceaseless way in which the university, that the institute, must catalog every item created, the list of just inane items is truly massive. That's a side thing. All this useless information, courtesy, you're nat 20. You were describing to me something before I cut in.
Oh, good. Basically just saying that, there's all kinds of sections, even, subsections in the magical item section. As you just described, basically. All kinds of books. And I would specifically look not for magic arms and armor, not for any legendary tales of, arms and armor, I guess, or ledgers regarding those things, but most of for the unusual items.
Okay. You're looking for abnormalities, exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. The angle you're playing is looking for the weird stuff, which in a library section devoted to magically crafted items of various potency and effect, some might say is a bit of a redundant descriptor to be looking for. Though, there are some of the ones that, at first, it leads you down a weird path. A couple red herrings. Looking for the stuff that's kind of divergent, that goes off the normal path, leads you to seeing some very questionable creations, or the various description of various questionable creations, sometimes accompanied by assisting visual aids and imagery. You're probably never going to go back to those books. You do, however, hunt through the shelves while Chaiko is doing her best, but just lost in the enormity of the library. Just how many books there are dedicated to magic items. They stretched up into the ceiling, outside of vision. You, however, have been here before. You've navigated it. You're familiar with some of the quirks. You also know that sometimes the shelves here are less organized by category and more organized by whoever was here last. And as sometimes happens in libraries, there might be regulars who just kind of group certain books together based on common factors or just the fact that they like them. These sorts of library attendees are the bane of the neat freaks. Given the size of the library, there's always going to be parts that go unchecked and escape the notice of the people responsible for keeping things in shipshape. Those books float through the air above you, flit back and forth, flapping, zipping from shelf to shelf. High above. You, down by the floor, hunt down one almost barren shelf. It's a thin little book, bound together with withered, yellowed paper. You swear, as you carefully scoop it up in your palm, that it threatens to crumble to dust in your hands, even with the preservation magic inherent in this place, likely cast upon the book itself. You can't tell if it's age, mistreatment, or maybe somebody dropped this in a fresh pot of coffee. But the book title is embroidered in, rather than written or stained with ink. So, even if it was dropped into coffee, it hasn't run, and it hasn't been washed out. The title says, Talking to Spoons. I should say, Speaking with Spoons. It's important to alliterate with magic. Vark, yes. You have found a small little book with a title on the front that says, Speaking with Spoons.
Speaking with spoons. Holding it with his gloved hands. Quaint. Chaiko.
Flipping through book. Huh? What?
Catch. Toss.
Jacob
Clap.
currently
Make the
has
save.
a rather sizable book.
Don't make me make a save.
No. The rather sizable book in your hand is one that's a hardback binding. It's an encyclopedia of various types of magical enchantment. You're trying to probably look for any that have to do with things like intelligence or speech or anything like that. And so Vark underhand tosses you this little weathered thing that looks like the spine has been stitched together using yarn. You managed to just snatch it out of the air, and the The outside cover feels like crispy bacon. If you put too much pressure on it, the thing feels like it'll crumble into shards.
Please do not throw this book again.
Despite the toss, though, it doesn't seem to have suffered any damage. You would have probably been filled in about the fact that this place has preservation magics cast within it to stop destruction of property. They're not all-encompassing, but they have.
I do not want to be responsible for accidentally dropping a book and having it crumble.
Consider it.
Hmm.
So, in your hand, is a small, warped-looking notebook with an embroidered title, paper front on a paper front, with a spine stitched together using some form of thread. On the title embroidered into the front says "Speaking with Spoons."
If I wasn't desperate, I would laugh at this book. Well, time to open it.
There's a stark difference between this book and the one you were reading before. The encyclopedia was painstakingly organized. The kerning was carefully adjusted. I should say the kerning. The written word inside was carefully spaced out. The handwriting neat and precise. Everything was held to a certain standard, used a similar language to one another. These were bullet pointed, categorized. There was composition to the page. This is somebody's journal that they scribbled in using charcoal. A fine tip charcoal pencil, but charcoal nonetheless. Now, the title is in common, and so is the contents within. Reading through begins, as one might expect with such a title, with just a little bit of nonsense. Dear Diary, today I talked to my soup spoon. I don't know why it talked to me. Complained a lot when I put it in my mouth. But it talked to me. Always wanted a friend. Second page. Dear Diary. The spoon's still talking, so I guess it's not a daydream like Mom said. But she heard the spoon talking and then she fainted. I think she might have hit her head on the floor. She's not woken up again yet. Next page. Dear Diary. The spoon keeps talking, and he got a new friend. I think it has a little sister now. The teaspoon has begun talking as well. I don't know why. Next page. Dear Diary. My entire spoon cupboard has come to life. And is talking to me. And they keep giving me different types of advice on how to use them. Some begging me for freedom to turn them loose. Set them out into the wild world so that they can discover themselves and go on a journey of self-actualization, whatever that word means. I told them that they have no legs. They've been quietly sobbing ever since. Next page. Dear Diary, the spoons seem to have recovered from their depression. I think it's because I use them to stir coffee. Next page. Dear Diary, putting the spoons in coffee was a mistake. They won't stop talking. I don't understand anything they say. There are no gaps left between their words. Next page. Dear Diary, a man came to the door today. He wanted to speak to Mom and I. Said that I've got some kind of gift or something. I don't know. But apparently, I'm the reason the spoons came to life. I asked him if I could take the spoons with me. He asked me if they could be quiet for a while. Couldn't hear him over when the spoons started objecting. This page. Dear Diary. I accepted his invitation. I'm going to be going to school soon. Maybe learning how all this works. Though I don't imagine how useful talking spoons are going to be to anyone, especially when apparently this guy's some sort of big shot wizard. Don't know what he sees in me, but if ever somebody needs talking spoons, I guess I can help. The final page is written in a much neater scrawl. In looping cursive that goes across the age page. Small, almost stencil accurate writing. Dear Diary. It's been quite a long time since I've written this book. It's been an eventful few years. Roughly about 150, I believe. I can't believe I managed to dig this out of my old belongings. Now that I find myself penning my own works on the arcane treaties, I can't believe just how much came from a small start. First, I thought all I was good for was making spoons talk out of nowhere. To this day, whenever I talk about not having enough spoons to deal with something on a regular basis, people still look at me strangely. It's a little joke to myself and my friends. I still carry them around with me. They keep me company. They were my first friends. But they're not my only ones anymore. I'm surrounded by friends. My robe hugs me on a cold day. My hat provides me wisdom. My staff points the way. My slippers guide my feet. And they all talk. They all feel and they all think. And all it took, just a little bit of work and the help of an older man showing up on my doorstep one day, total stranger, asking for a young woman or a young girl even, come to a school far, far away so she can learn about her talking spoons. I worry about passing on this sort of knowledge. There are people throughout the world who would abuse something like this. So I don't think I will. I was going to publish a book, but I'm looking back through these pages. I think I'm going to keep it to myself. My friends are special. I'm not just going to give them away. At the bottom, signed in looping cursive, is DOC, so Doctor, Hi Magos. Type this out so you can see it. Dr. Ivagos Lucerna Bigfoot.
I will close the book gently. Var, how much time has passed?
Okay, stops for a moment. 15 minutes, 17 seconds. Why?
Found what I need. Help me put these books away. I'm not taking this book, but I'm gonna bring it to the librarian, see if I can find this person.
Thank you
This-
kindly for not having me try to dissuade you from committing a crime with the Syrian. As I explain what books like.
Yeah?
I just have the.
Ow!
That's actually an emote, isn't it? Lucerna with the excellent bleh.
Yep. The Syrian is
I'll,
so bleh.
Bleh.
Okay, I'll bring that topic up again later. I
You know you're a good.
She takes the
friend
book.
when you can dissuade your friends from crime.
I'll take the book and walk over to the librarian again.
Okay. You, taking the book, exit the massive library out of the extra-dimensional space that it's in, walking through a good bit of hallway to find yourself back at the front desk. Technically speaking, he's not the librarian. He's
Close
the
enough.
receptionist, but he's your man with the man with the plan, the man with the information. It's your
Exactly.
weathered little notebook in hand. There's a look of concern on his face. Says,
Not taking it.
I know. I'm a little concerned you've taken it out of the library. I trust you're.
I'm very sorry.
Trust you're going to take it.
I
also assume you have a reason.
I do. She'll gently lay the book on the table, even turn it around towards him. Do you know who wrote this?
Speaking with spoons. Never seen this one before. It looks shabby. Kind of picks it up between a finger and a forefinger and a thumb. A forethumb, yes.
He has all thumbs.
I am all thumbs. He brings it up, kind of dangles it there. A little grimace passing across his face. Carefully takes it in both hands and opens it. There's no author signed to it, so. Oh, that's
Last page.
Oh, I see. I'm gonna say explains it because it's written in diary format by a rather poor hand at that. Oh, okay. This is much nicer, much more legible. Closes the book, gently sets it down on the table. It once more pulls open the drawer. This one with, to contain the files on members of the society.
Members.
Rolls it open. Thickfoot. Here we go. Lucerna Thickfoot. Pulls out a file. It's a decently thick one, about the width of your thumb, I'd say. Then opens it, brings it to the desk, pulls out a few sheafs, a couple of smaller folders tucked within, looks through it and says, Dr. Hymagos Lucerna Thickfoot. Graduated with distinction from the Rubino University, Rubino Institute of Magic. She specialized in magical artifice. That tracks. She served with distinction in the Rubino Army. What's it called Rubino back then, wasn't it? This is. The record states that it goes back to about 450 years ago. Halfling descent. She was loved. Distinction. What? Again, he pulls open the drawer. This one for the business contacts, the logistical files. Once more pulls out. Quiet, I'm sorry. Once more pulls out the file she pulled out before. That being. Turn up my gain a little bit. I hope that's better. He pulls up the same file he did before, this time slapping it down next to Lucerna's file. Looks up at you, back down at the files, and goes, "That's strange."
What seems to be the issue?
You don't strike me as having halfling in your heritage.
I don't.
It's strange.
She'll, at this point, you hear a pop sound. Gets in a form.
Still, this is odd. These records date back to about 450 years ago. Taking into account the fact that she may have prolonged her lifespan through some means or another, it might explain some things. But it says right here, one of her granddaughters was she eventually had a how to put this? She eventually had a family business of keeping contact and membership within the Society Quadratica. Her children and her children's children maintained strong ties, and a few of them even were also members, maintaining and continuing her area of study. So those who contributed to the society usually did so in advancing magical item crafting as a whole. And nothing related to what you're looking at here, like speaking items were never really much of an explored factor. But it says here that the mage that married Yaharik, that being Belgor's father, your grandfather in this case, was the granddaughter of Lucerna. So what would that make it? Your grandmother will be great-grandmother? Via adoption in this case? Your great-great-step-grandmother would technically be Lucerna Thickfoot.
She's gonna put her fingers to her head. Of course. Okay. That's...
I will say, this is the first time in a while I've done an ancestry hunt. Normally we're concerned with other intellectual pursuits, but this is fascinating.
I'm glad you're having fun. Oh boy, this is going to be a...
You look quite exhausted by this information.
Yeah, I am.
Well, now this is just normal, logical induction, I suppose. But if this Lucerna Thickfoot was one who could create or somehow manifested these talking spoons, talking items, and then may or may not have passed that art down, whether it's hereditary or something she happened across, to her descendants, and then her son, being your father, may have inherited that to some degree, and that would explain the talking items in your workshop.
That it could. That means to find out anything, I'd have to go all the way back to Feetsbarn. That's something that can't be done for a while.
Well, you could also potentially try and find out anything about Lucerna. There's no record here of where she comes from, though. The records just state she showed up at the university at the Institute of Magic at one point, did her time there, and then yeah. Nothing about her life before she started studying.
Do you guys know where she is now?
It's been 4 centuries. I have to assume she'd have passed away by now.
Yeah, I had to assume as well.
Maybe if you ask at the Institute.
Alright.
They probably have a much closer record of where she was and what she was doing. While Lucerna was an interesting case going by these files, apparently the current head of the society back then was always pushing her to try and he seemed to suspect that she was withholding some form of breakthrough or method of magical artifice that she was always withholding very deliberately, and she always adamantly refused to do so.
Judging by the book, she certainly did.
So it would seem. Whatever that was might have been whatever secret leads to the creation of these speaking items. So, she was always apparently much closer with the people at the university, at the institute. So perhaps your chances are better there.
She'll let out a little laugh. Who knows? They might have one of those spoons there.
Find one of those there. They'd know the most out of anybody going by the book.
Yeah.
To be
All right.
Be able to speak to a 450-year-old spoon. That would be interesting.
Well, I thank you for your time. She'll turn to Vark, and I thank you for bringing me here. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to put this back where it was. She'll pick up the book and walk back to the library.
You return the book back to its place. And assuming you guys have nothing else to pursue here within the walls of the society, make your way out the front door.
As it's going to school, or that's on the plan, the agenda now.
Outfit? Oh my god.
Hey, wait,
God damn
are you talking about a in a schoolgirl outfit? Oh,
I was about
my
to say, it all
God.
comes back to Jules wanting to play a fox girl in a schoolgirl outfit. I knew it.
Oh my
I hate
God.
it here.
Is this a recurring
I hate it
Conspiracy.
here. Oh, no, there has been no theme. It's
When
just
you broke
communal
away
jumping
from-
of my character.
There is no
Don't
theme
you
in
kiss
bossing
the luck?
say. There is no theme in bossing say.
This
It does
is
feel
just
like a Bossing
communal
Say episode.
jumping up.
Awesome. I would say it's quite bossing
mean-
say, but you know.
We have someone going to the bathhouse getting pampered.
True. So anyway, that ties up that.
So this is where Hello meet the love interest in Bossing Say, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm. So, Mallory, I have a distinct feeling I know where you're going.
What's the feeling?
I'm going to go meet up with a certain Scarlet Woman.
Oh, for that I wouldn't have to change clothes.
Inconceivable. Meeting her? No, I can't believe it.
Or where are you going?
would I have had the time to well, when Karya, Flick, and Siren were conversing with the innkeeper, would there have been a chance I heard about it? Or heard it from where I was?
If you were leaving around the
In
same
the
time
morning?
as them, absolutely.
Okay. Well, the noble bathhouse seemed interesting, so I wanted to go there.
Oh boy. Okay. Just one horny dude going to a bathhouse on his own.
No! No, just a dude.
Dude,
Or a lady.
maybe. Just a Mallory.
Yeah.
Going for a
I-
bath. Okay.
Yeah, he did take care to manage his appearance a little bit. Kind of hide his horn behind a lovely set of bangs. Kind of tone his appearance down to something that would much more resemble certain someone he knows.
How much money are you leaving the house with?
I mean, I live with all of it.
Okay. Important I ask that.
Yeah, right now he just looks like a noble lady from what's the place called again? The new Duchies of Naissance.
Oh yeah, the United Duchies of Naissance, yeah. Yeah, sure. Deciding to avail yourself of one of the more upper class bathhouses, you make your way back to the noble district, which is further up the incline, and the higher up the hill you get, the more noble the housing is, the more noble the residents are, and also the higher class the various establishments begin and eventually become, until eventually it's just residential. As you climb it, getting up to about the sort of level where Charla's family's house was situated. You cast an eye about, and yeah, you see it. What looks to be a rather ostentatious looking building, built of rounded granite, high arches and alcoves, and what looked to be aqueducts leading into it, suspended high above the buildings. Sort of dip down into the top of it like pitchers pouring into a bowl.
Actually, before that, since we're passing the house anyway, could I leave a letter?
Absolutely. What
Awesome.
would you like to write?
I'd like to write that I've found some possible people that might be able to infiltrate, or at least find some connections that will give us a sort of information tube from Naya. And also from the United Duchies. I just haven't heard from them yet, and I am current. And the new crime syndicate thing, just general information on that. And that I'm currently heading over to the bathhouse in case I have not found it.
Okay. I'm assuming you penned that back at the inn, brought it with you, and then just slipped it under her door.
Yes.
Okay. You then continue the rest of the walk. The now early morning sun beating down on you. Getting quite warm in this section of the world. You were used to this, to the warm, muggy summers in the south, homeland. This is more of a dry heat. Despite the proximity to the ocean, you're far up enough that a lot of the more humid air just isn't reaching. So, walking under the sun, a hot spring morning, working up a bit of a sweat. Perfect to be washed off. And a trip to the bathhouse. Like I described, the rather ostentatious, tall building with a large domed, arched dome piece on the top, into which aqueducts lead, 3 of which from different angles. As they reach the roof, they slope downwards as if to decant like a jug. Upon getting to the front door, which is decorated with marble statues carved in the... Thank you, Ari, for redeeming a self-care. I'm going to shrimp myself. Also, we lost Karya.
Oh.
He did mention that his net was spotty.
Okay.
Mm.
Sorry, I had to talk to family. What was the last bit?
I was waiting for a moment. I may vanish for a moment. It is gone this way. Okay, yeah. Here we go.
Yeah.
You come up to the front entrance. And on both sides are marble statues carved in the most idealized nude form of the humanoid body. One is a large half-orc woman rippling with muscle, and one is a slender elven man with elegant and slim form. Obviously, this probably, this alone, like one of those statues alone, to be commissioned, probably costs a small fortune. They are now flawless, hewn from flawless marble, sat out here just as invitational pieces, sitting on either side of the front door. I can only imagine what's on the inside.
No.
The door itself is crafted in such a way as to almost resemble the entrance gate to a flower garden, or to a mansion's back garden. Yes, Ari, the ideal human bodies, Muscle Mommy and Twink. Or at least as far as the Rosaina ability are concerned. The door itself is made with cast iron, and in between the different almost vein-like whorls and branching of the iron is delicate stained glass. And the handles are 2 rounded brass knobs.
Well, I think I will go inside of the building.
Okay. The moment you open the door and step inside, you're hit by humid air. Warm. You already feel like you're taking a minor steam bath at this point. There's the smell of flower oils and herbs and perfumes of different types. The smell of animal fat, plant oil, smell of alchemical ingredients, and naturally, of course, of water. But hard to define not smell that water obviously is. In this case, bath water. Inside the building, there are a few people here and there. Some sat upon marble slates, half-dressed, obviously waiting or taking a break from being in the hot baths. Others walking back and forth, fully dressed. Others in the other direction, practically naked. Front lobby is a bustle. Those inside are all invariably, you notice, they're all invariably rather high-nosed. Some of them clearly are here to just enjoy themselves. In the noble world, people like that are generally considered to be eccentric, because the rest of them spend the time sitting between bodyguards or eyeing one another, or very slowly making their way through the building while casting nervous glances back and forth. And then there's the ones who walk around basically like they own the place. Quite possibly they might. Or at the very least, they may own part of the place for a time. The front desk over some, like, I would say off to the side. Sitting behind it is a dusky-skinned looking elven woman, busy manicuring one of her nails. Currently curing for her fingernails while a impatient-looking middle-aged woman taps her foot and waits, flanked on either side by bodyguards.
What does she look like? A person from Rosina or a person from another country?
Well, she wears red, so that would probably paint her as being Versailles. Unless she's looking to throw off expectations. Who knows? Besides that, it's a bit hard to tell if she's from here. She's got telltale signs of wrinkles on her skin. She's got crow's feet next to her eyes. The tap of her foot is slow, seemingly meant to be quick, but every time the foot comes down, it hesitates for a moment, causing a sort of staccato pattern to her tapping. And her lips are drawn together in an expression that can only be described as looking like she just bit into a lemon.
Well, the original plan was to seek out anyone who might look like they were Nyan, but I'm curious. So she, what's it called, Mallory will, or Mallory in disguise will pretty much walk over to her and ask what's wrong. She
I will say, as you do this, the two bodyguards on either side of her eye you suspiciously. Two rather large-looking men, shirtless, the only adornments on their upper bodies being large brass rings of some sort that encircle their biceps. Below the waistline, they both wear pairs of kecks, so rough, black-like trousers. Obviously, kind of trying very hard to give off the air of intimidation. She turns to you. The bodyguards look like they're ready to interrupt at any moment necessary. He looks you up and down. Isn't it obvious? I'm here to get in line for the baths, but the receptionist has been rather stubborn in hearing me out and wanting to take my business.
Yes, as you say. Could I look over to the situation with the receptionist?
Yeah, receptionist is just there, looking down at her nails and polishing them.
Well, maybe I'm also I'm a little new in town, but maybe I could help out. I have been told I'm rather persuasive.
You, an outsider, hoping to. Oh, perhaps one day, fish will fall from the sky. Please, have a go.
And so, Mallory would step over to the receptionist, giving the very clear, a very what's called salesworthy smile.
Mm-hmm. The receptionist puts down her nail file. Doing the typical sort of like cat's paw thing, where she has her heel of her hand kind of extended outwards, her fingernail, her fingers curled, and her fingernails kind of showing in your direction. Hello, how can I help you?
Hello. Is it alright if my friend and I could get some admittance to this bathhouse?
Well, I could. Do you have a membership?
No membership yet. If they're open to applications, I'm willing to apply.
Do you have anybody within any members who can speak on your behalf?
Do you know a Battaglia?
She for a moment she's like her fingers kind of do a little circle through the air as she suddenly flexes her hand back and forth. It's terminally busy hand. It just kind of wanders back and forth, making strange and odd gestures. As her face twists up in bemusement for a moment, before then, oh no, we don't take that name around here.
Not here.
Oh no. She looks you up and down. Roll me a diplomacy.
Okay.
You're not lying. You do have ties to the Battaglia family.
Diplomacy. A 14. Wow.
As she looks you up and down, and then goes, "Okay, I'm gonna have to actually set up straight for this fucking impression." Oh, so I'm very sorry about this. As she looks you like where she previously was looking down at the desk. Then she looks up through the top of her eyes towards you. And she brings up that sort of that same like cat's paw nail, like nails showing towards you hand. Both of them just kind of like hovering like at either side of her chest. She just kind of goes, "I'm really sorry, but no." And then she turns around and says, "Security!" As you, from multiple doors and wings, see men mobilizing to eject you from the premises.
This is when a lady brings out her fan and covers the lower half of his face, as he then gives a really like staring daggers at the security, like basically telling them, if you touch me, you're going to have consequences, not just upon you, but upon your loved ones, and you do not know who I am.
Give me an intimidation roll.
Yeah, that's my specialty.
Hmm.
A 32.
That one.
This is not including Esmeralda's bonus.
Mm-hmm. It's a damn shame you can't take the fucking horse with you into the bathhouse, isn't it?
Edit the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
we-
from outside. Nah.
So that's a 28 without Esmeralda, correct?
No. It's a 32. I didn't include it.
Oh, okay.
I only included when I am actually on the horse.
Well. Bring the fan out, snapping it open, using it to cover your mouth as you then glare at the security. Switching eye contact whenever one threatens to take steps close to you. You manage to lock eyes with a couple of them to make them hesitate. But they're still edging closer towards you. Is there anything you're going to say or do while you've managed to make them hesitate?
Well, I'll then look to the receptionist and ask, is there any reason why you're rejecting us so outright?
Well, the Battaglias are kind of a really dirty name here in the city, and they help run like a lot of the bathhouses in the Rose District, and they take money away from us, and it's just conflict of interest, and like it's all business, and anybody who's connected to the name is just kind of completely and totally banned from the premises.
Oh, so being associated with a noble lady is bad?
Oh, you think she's noble? Oh, honey, your standards must be really low. No
Dear.
wonder you came in here looking like that.
Well, this is the time that I'm going to do something like this.
Oh,
I am going to pretty much reach into my lovely little purse
mm-hmm.
and then drop down 20 platinum.
200 gold.
And that is just a mere fraction of what my family is capable of affording me for a daily outing. Imagine what will happen if they hear that I'm rejected on this hot, sweltering day from the privilege of a mere bath.
This is difficult because you're on a severe back foot at the moment in terms of the receptionist's attitude towards you. She looks at the platinum on the table, then up at you. It's clear on direct look that 20 platinum, she knows it's a good amount of money. Like, it's a lot of money. But the look on her face is not one that's impressed. So much as this looks kind of like the normal amount of money she'd use to handle. And she again does that whole like, well, I mean, well, what family are you from? Are you a Battaglia?
No.
Well, surely if your family is so influential and so wealthy that they can have such sway here within the city as to threaten one of our premier establishments, then surely your name must carry great weight.
And this is when Mallory will speak a little louder. because this is he's no longer trying to get into the bathhouse anymore. He knows he made a mistake. My name is Emily Charmaine of the Charmaine household.
Man, that's I've never heard of them. So obviously they're not really anybody, but that sounds like a southerner name, and that's kind of like giving like really strong poor vibes. Are you like a refugee or something?
Well, we're taking temporary residence in Rosarino.
Okay, well, there's a communal bath for the poor down the street if you go a few more tiers down at the bottom of the city, just outside the walls. Security?
He's gonna stare at them again.
Another intimidate.
That's a 14. That is
No.
no.
So close.
This is
and
the
so
one
far
thing I was
away.
good at.
That's unfortunate. That is very unfortunate. Mallory previously rolled a 32. Mallory has now rolled a... Robot Karya.
Use your luck dice. I mean, Destiny effect.
Use the force.
System.
Heroic points.
Nope.
No.
Mallory previously rolled a 32. Mallory has just rolled a nat 1 for a total of 14.
Okay, I want to use my trait. I want to use calculated bribe, please.
But bite the dusto.
Oh wait, no, that doesn't matter. Wait, that doesn't matter anymore. It already came out.
Quick,
Why did they
use
remove that?
quick, use your stand.
No. Okay.
You did throw money on the table before. However, you do have to count yourself as being out that 20 platinum, by the way. It's on the table.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're going to go scoop it up before security dogpiles you. It's out of your hand.
Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm not doing that broke shit. They can keep it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure they'll find something to do with your money. Mallory, you have exactly 1 round's worth of time to decide what to do next. As you see, the security is now, as you give them all a withering glare, but now as your confidence has been shaken, and you've more like before, you were blustering. Now, it's basically immediately visible in your eye exactly how much you know you've messed up coming in here. And it's not even through any fault of your own, really. Though you could throw around somebody else's name and turn out to be the wrong one. What turned from trying to get yourself a really luxurious bath and maybe listen in on some gossip between the nobility has turned into several very large security guards in boiled leather armor, looking like they're about a moment away from trying to tackle you and wrestle you to the ground.
Nobody must know of my faults. Blistering back. I'm kidding. He's going to clasp his fan shut. Give a small sigh of defeat. Turn around and say, "I'll see myself out."
As you do,
And
she gives you one of those little sort of wiggly fingered waves as you leave and says, You do that, honey. And hopefully you can find yourself a nice soup kitchen sometime in the meantime. Bye. And basically, the security guards more or less just follow on your heels. In the meantime, also, the older woman with her 2 bodyguards have likewise also been escorted off the premises. They're now standing outside the front door on the pavement next to you.
he is going to hang his head down and apologize.
All the things I would have never expected to be wrapped up in the shenanigans of some Battaglia sympathizer. Honestly, young woman, have you no class, no actual connections, no people of worth to associate with?
They were all burned down to the ground.
Yes, and for good reason. You cannot even conceive that you would consider it a good idea to associate with people. Honestly. She brings out a handkerchief of her own where she kind of like dabs at her forehead and just under her eyes where little bits of sweat are gathering. And flicks it out and hands it to one of her bodyguards. It says, "Professor can't be fully blamed. You did say you were new to the city, but the fact that you thought you could just come in and throw around the name of some family who is long disgraced with no previous research, even the most nouveau riche families within Rosino and Rabido know who they're throwing those names at before they do so. The city is a cutthroat place, young woman. Have you..." She bites her tongue and says, "Suppose it's not too much of a loss. This place was ghastly, ostentatious, and the help was absolutely unhelpably rude. Suppose it's not too much of a loss in the long run. Still, you benefit from finding a higher class of people to associate with. At the very least, keep your mouth shut about who you are in trucking with." You said your name was Emily?
Yes, my name was Emily.
Emily Charmaine. That woman at the counter is insufferable, but also insufferably perceptive. I notice your accent, and I notice your individual traits. You are from the duchies, yes?
Yes.
It's a horrible state of affairs. You have my condolences.
Thank you. However, I should have been aware that the name wouldn't work outside of the duchies. Now that it's fallen so low.
Be more mindful of it in the future. Do your research. Know where you're going and know who you're talking to.
I'll be sure to do that.
And hopefully you'll avoid a mistake like this anytime in the future as well. Especially if you intend to keep within the circles of nobility. I can see you've been raised with some etiquette, and that you really were at one point of noble blood. In fact, it seems to be something you're quite accustomed to, which she's still, this entire time, she's still worn that sort of, like, that lemon face that she has, the one where her lips are drawn very tight. Very much the picture of a stiff upper lip. This woman is... resting bitch face would be a decided understatement. Her look is severe. If anything, she might remind somebody of a particularly mean-looking headmistress. I don't know why you're here, or why you decided to go walking into a bathhouse built for nobility. In a foreign land where your name has no meaning, no weight, there are plenty of other perfectly serviceable options, especially if you're looking to get political favor or blackmail. There are better ways. It's expensive ones as well. Spies cost considerably less than even a day in one of the baths there. I expect you'll do better in the future. No amount of lecturing from me will make any difference in that regard. I can already see that you know the failure you've made, and that you will see to it that you correct it yourself. Correct?
You are, yes. But it still does me good to hear it from somebody else.
And let it act as reinforcement for the future, and so that you may learn the lesson. And at some point you find yourself better put together, more ready to tackle the ruthless world of politics within Rubido. She seems to think it over for a moment, as if second-guessing even bringing it up. Wow, this internet is really fucked today. If at some point you should find yourself more ready to handle this, my name within my circle is La Bambina.
Wait a second. I've heard that name before.
Mhm.
Hold on. Bambina. I have not written it down. Never mind.
You Mandela'd yourself. They call me La Bambina.
Bambina. Yes.
Seek me out, and I see something more worthy in you then. We can see whether or not we might be able to make something of you here in the city. I see promise, but not a lot just yet. And as she turns away and says, "Come along, boys." She strides off into the street.
I'll be sure to curtsy toward her as she made her way away. As she made her way, away.
As she strides away, she says, "And maybe perhaps one of these days you can pay me back for this little debt you've incurred." Short, little clacking strides across the cobblestone. She and her bodyguards disappear into the crowd.
Well,
You never got that.
Oh, go ahead.
And you never got that bath.
Yep. Well, I didn't use the platinum, but I did get word out that someone from the duchies is still really active in Rosaino.
Oh, how about that?
And
Emily.
if anything, yes, Emily, a pretty well advertised person at the time.
Mm.
So I am trying to provoke some unsavory folks so that I can extort information if I do capture them, lest I be captured.
Okay.
And I know that gossip around nobility, even if it's national or international, tends to spread like wildfire, especially if you started in a place of nobility, or where nobility tends to gather. So what Mallory will do now is simply walk around.
You're walking around. Are you just going to be listening in on conversations, or are you going to be carousing, small talk, or just walking and exploring?
He is going to be walking and exploring, pretty much alert if anybody tries to follow him or otherwise approach him.
Noted. Okay. Switching perspectives. Hello, how are you doing?
Oh, so it was me that hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing alright, how are you?
You? Oh, I'm doing just fine. You're wandering around the city, just looking around,
Look around.
doing some exploring.
Yeah, what... From where the inn was, and if I just, like... Well, let's say maybe go in, like, a straight line down and maybe like, turn here and there. Where would you say Holo Holo would have found himself at?
I'd say he would have found himself in the market district.
Interesting. Now tell me, is it just, like, basic, like, mundane goods, or is it anything, really?
It's whatever comes in on the ships, as well as whatever is traded on land between the 4 different nations.
I
So,
see.
plenty
Oh,
of mundane things. Every now and again, there's an odd gewgaw in amongst the stuff. Same with Mordaunt. There isn't typically like a magic item shop. Usually, very few people have the liquid capital to just create a storefront chock full with magic items and then just sell them. People willing to pay the thousands of gold necessary. Most stores have like 1 or 2 pride items that they have on display that are going for a premium price tag. So, yeah, there's mundane goods, and every now and again there'll be a stall or a shop that'll have an odd curiosity nestled in among the wares or put proudly on display.
interesting. I guess anything, like, I'll look over, like, for any, like, magical, like, doodads, I guess. Maybe some alchemical stuff could be fun, and see if there's anything around, if I can, like, roll a perception.
Cool.
Okay.
Roll your perception then. As well as a knowledge arcana, just to see if you can find anything interesting in the pile.
Cool. Haka and Lolo are literally, like, probably sitting there right beside me, right?
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so I was just making sure, because I technically get the alertness feat whenever they're right next to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually a plus 19, so it will be a 32.
Very nice.
And knowledge arcana 24.
So you make your way down to the market district, which is not too far away from the university district. They're actually quite close to one another. Probably something that the students are quite thankful for, as getting both materials, written goods, and just food. Easy. It's just a jaunt. It's a hop, a skip, and hop, skip, and a jump. Evidenced by the fact when you get to the market district, it's populated as much by tourists, locals, and also, very obviously, members of the Institute of Magic. Students at the Institute of Magic. Members are denoted in a slightly different fashion, but the students are dressed in, at least in this time of year, normally they would be dressed in long, heavy cloaks and coats. Mixed up coats and cloaks into one word. But this time of year, they've got simple, light cotton shirts with the blazon of the university on it. As they kick around, you see groups of boys and girls and mixed in between, kind of going back and forth, gawking, window shopping, checking in here and there, poking their head in. Some of them making noise. Every now and again, one of them will be there's one group that's sort of like, for a moment, as you see, acts like they're in a shop to like shop around. And then using each other as cover, it would be a group of like 4 or 5 lads, sort of just browsing the shop shelves, while one of them sort of ducks behind their backs as they all kind of position to cover him, as he weaves a spell, and then the next thing you know, they've gone from shelf browsing to turning right around out the front door, striding, power walking at speed, and giggling between each other before you then smell something wafting out of the shop they exited, smelling distinctly like skunk.
Jesus Christ, the fraternities are.
There are magical fraternities, and they are interesting. Yes.
Oh, yes, Alpha, Gamma, Beta.
Hmm.
Anyways. So one shop smells like a sewer now.
One shop smells like skunk, and not the herbal kind. There's a bunch of others. There's stalls all along several of the streets here. There's bookstores. There's alchemical outlets where they offer ingredients of different kinds, spell ingredients. There's places that sell that buy and sell gold and silver in chunks and loads rather than just in coins. And on several places, you see little shows being put on. Just over the buildings, you see a somewhat larger structure in the distance, ringed by towers, which you recognize as being the Magical Institute itself. You're close to the University District. So, less surprise. Been on several of the corners, and in one of the big plazas around this big 6-tier fountain that's decorated with a bronze horse statue atop which rides a massive Goliath creature with one eye, Cyclops, which looks to be dragging its club along the ground next to it as the horse gallops. And the water fixture somehow keeps the water moving in such a way so that it streams up out of the pool and up in a splashing formation, as if to emulate the club dragging through the water, and just holds that shape.
Well, that's impressive.
All around the fountain, besides the children and the teens and families that are families off next to it, dunking their heads in, splashing each other. You also see stalls and shows being put on by members of the academy, of the institute, putting on various displays of magic. There's barkers and advertisers. Talking about the benefits and the programs available to those who want to enroll at the institute, the stipend funds, housing accommodation, in exchange for a minimum 2-year service in the Rosina military. So you get work experience working in a unit, and get combat experience for those looking to be adventurers in the future. But there's even simple things and you notice there's a trend as well among these wizards and mages of all kinds. The younger ones look like they're being forced to be there. There's some that you see that are gangly, pimply faced men and women, and others who are of various different species, manning stalls looking like their souls are just a thread away from leaving their bodies. Think minimum wage teenage McDonald's employee, but dressed up in a wizard robe.
Mom said I had to get a job.
Yeah, specifically the university said I had to get a job. It's either you man the stall at the fair, or you do a bunch of extra credit. And then as it gets up in age, you see the ones who are sort of middle-aged, who are they have some enthusiasm. Those are usually the ones who are up barking. And then the older they get, like especially the really old ones, they're the ones running like some of the attractions, and they're having a gay old time. They're whooping and hollering. They're dancing back and forth. They're throwing spells into it. There's one attraction that has a sort of multi-spoked wheel on top of like a large wooden pin or dial of some sort, and there's a group of wizards working in conjunction to create gusts of wind that once on the end of each spoke are these little boxes where parents are loading their children into it. And then when everybody's in and people back away, the wizards in concert use spells to then cause gusts of winds that push the different spokes and cause the thing to spin in circles at high speeds, like some massive multi-spoked centrifuge.
Not really. Well, I guess magical Ferris wheel. If I'm really getting at it right from the description.
Less Ferris wheel because that's more vertical. This is more horizontal. It spins
Oh,
horizontally.
okay. Oh, okay.
So like a merry-go-round, but like faster and no horses.
Faster and potentially more dangerous.
Oh yes, absolutely more dangerous. There's no safety rails.
I just see like a teenager get thrown at Mach 5.
That's the thing. The centripetal force keeps them in the boxes.
Oh wait, I know what this is now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fucking. There was a fucking museum I went to a long time ago that actually had something similar to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know what this is now. Okay.
Yeah. And there's various other applications of magic. A lot of them seem to be slanted towards trying to impress the youth. There's things that get the adrenaline going. There's things for the children. There's one wizard in particular who is apparating little bits of candy and like frosting and sugar into the shapes of various animals. At one point, he hands over what looks to be a sugar foam sword to a young boy, who then immediately turns around and then cracks the thing in two pieces over his sister's head, as children do.
Ouch.
Yes. When you're on this circle, and there's a lot of stalls here. There's stuff. There's one selling. There's one stall in particular which is advertising fundraising, specifically for the magical artisanry department of the Institute, where they're selling off, in their words, handcrafted, prototypical magical items made by Rosaino's finest.
I will go there, but first, Polo will look at Pacanolo and say, "All right, we're in the festival. What do you want to eat?"
I want to see if they have any interesting fruit. I want to see if they
Okay,
made
you're free.
magical fruit. None of those exploding lemons. Ugh.
Polo's just gonna look to one direction in the back, and he's gonna be like, "Okay, fine. I don't. Go get you some. Go get you some if you know what I mean."
With pleasure. With that, like, Paca's nestled on Lolo's back, and Lolo goes trotting off in between legs in the crowd. They're off on a little hunt.
Yes, indeed.
Like up on a stage by the fountain, you see like one particularly bombastic wizard in big billowing robes. How the hell is he not sweating through those on a sunny spring day? But he's up there and he's practically dancing for the crowd. And he's like, he's answering questions. He's up there. Every now and again, he'll do a magic trick. And then, like, sometimes it'll look like sleight of hand. Other times it'll just be straight up, just like blasts of fire and confetti. All to just sort of keep the energy up, keep the attention of the crowd. Being on the crossing or the plaza here, you see this place is a central section of the city with four large streets heading in each cardinal direction, that are like massive arteries of traffic throughout the city. one of which leads directly, from what you can see, into the university district, up to the institute building.
Interesting.
Coming down that road,
Is that where?
you see lots of people coming
That's-
back and forth, lots of wizards, and not just wizards, lots of mages.
Is that where the magic item stall place was?
It's
Because
on the corner of this big plaza here.
Okay.
Well, I would say closest to the road that leads towards the institute.
Okay. I'll go in that direction because I do want to see what they're selling, what the finest like artisans here are selling.
As you're moving towards that stall, up on the stand, that barking wizard is. And if at any point you have even just the slightest spark of creativity in your soul, and you wish to release the intellectual and the mage within you, all you need to do is stride on through Electric Avenue down to the Institute. As you approach the stall,
There.
What?
I heard that.
no, don't think about it. How to describe a plaza like this during peak traffic hours. This place is filled with families. There's a crush of bodies all looking to try and take advantage of the fountain and its cool water. There are a few peacekeepers of the city trying to keep people from like taking full-on swims in the pool, because then that will soil the water for everybody. People sort of waiting in long lines for the public drinking fountains. Families and children screaming, attractions making noise, stalls hoping to hawk their goods, shouting over the din. And you meanwhile make your way over to one of the more popular stands, that being the one that advertises magical items made by Rosaina's finest.
I see.
There's a bit of a line in front. They are talking over the crowd. It's like, everybody who wants to potentially purchase something, please wait in line. Everybody hoping to inquire, we have somebody off the side who can answer any questions you might like to ask. Please have some patience. Moves off the side, has a little whispering conversation with one of the guys at the stall. And we must advise you not to touch anything on the stall. Hello, guten Abend. Welcome in. Yes. There is a bit of a crush and there's a bit of a line waiting, but they do have people put aside to potentially answer any questions. The stall is itself in two parts, and this whole surface is scattered with junk. You see flutes and candles and a little oil lamp and various other things just kind of scattered across it. Yes. And here's the question. Are you waiting in line?
You know what? Yeah, sure. I will wait in line. Hola Hola is kind of patient, I'd say.
I'm very sorry. We don't have a help command here. I haven't actually gotten around to sorting anything out like that, despite the fact that I've been streaming for 2 years. If you do have any questions, I'd be willing to answer them. But yes, you wait in line, and it takes a little while. It takes long enough until eventually Lolo comes trotting back up. Her and Paka both having their cheeks full. It's like, hey. Took me a while to find you.
Strange. I've been in here for. Is there like a clock nearby?
Nope.
Actually,
no, there would be a clockwork tower. At least a couple visible from this section of the city. Yeah, no, there would be. It's gone from morning to about early afternoon at this point. Between walking and waiting here in line, it's been a little bit. It's getting warm.
I've just been waiting here for the past 4 or 5 hours.
What's it for? It's more
How
like
was your hunt?
you've been like, it took you about. This. You've been waiting for maybe like an hour and a half at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said like I got here like at 9 or 10 in the night, and then it's like 1.
Pay no attention
I don't
to
know
the
why I
plot holes.
Yeah.
Pay no attention to the chronological inconsistencies.
I've been told by
It's
God
all
it's only
different.
been an hour.
Yes. So, eventually, Pac and Lulu, now who have finished off whatever they had jammed in their cheeks, as Lola looked at a soft little capybara burp. The line,
Blit.
little chirping burp. I can't emulate it because I don't have the register for it, but if I could, I would. Eventually, you make your way up through the line and find yourself at the front of the stall. And they're like, "Oh, right, next in line. Yes.
Yes.
So you have a familiar of your own. Are you yourself schooled in the way of magecraft?"
I mean, I suppose so.
Well, then I'm sure you have this like the man talking to you right now is one of he falls more into like the middle age range of students. Flanked on his right, he's got like a few of the younger ones. Thank you for the follow. A couple of the younger guys kind of bustling back and forth, grabbing things, making sure children don't come up and swipe things off the table, batting hands aside and such. And then further into the back, there's an older man who is just kind of rocking he was sitting in a rocking chair of all things, swaddled up in a big rope. Again, how are these older wizards just kind of dealing with this in this weather? As every now and again, you noticed waiting in line, he would wake up from his little siesta where he was like softly snoozing in the rocking chair, rocking back and forth behind the stall, and occasionally would just point his finger up into the air and then fire off a massive thunderclap, followed by a shower of rainbow sparkles that just would then drift down onto the crowd and the people waiting in line.
Fancy.
Yeah. That's basically, a simple spellcraft roll would have revealed that to be a color spray paired with the thundering metamagic.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah, surprising what you can do with just a little iteration, and it successfully, consistently grabs the attention of people in the crowd. Because every time he does that, the amount of people start filtering their way over to the stall picks up by at least a little bit. So,
What?
The middle-aged man, we'll say he's a little bit of a wispy white beard, a scratchy mustache, also sort of silvery, a jaunty, ill-fitting, starry cap, and a shirt, vest, and pants, with a pair of sensible black boots. So, what would you like to buy? Everything here was crafted by a graduating member of the Magical Institute, or the Institute of Magic, upon his as a thesis for his graduation, to demonstrate his capability as a master of his art.
Any recommendations? I actually have nothing in mind of what I want to buy. I'm just mostly curious.
Well, that would depend if you're looking for useful or if you're looking for curious. If you're looking for a particular kind of useful, it depends what you have. You might have individual interest in.
I'm a potion brewer, but I'm also quite the what do they call it here? Actually, you know what? I'm not sure if that's incredibly right. I could say that in public.
Gives you an interesting look.
Just talking to Pocket a little. Should I tell him I'm good with hexes?
I mean, they seem open-minded.
You know, I'll just bring this in this way. Anything beneficial to something like anything beneficial to witches or anything like that? People.
Witches, huh? We talking like hedge witches, as in like mages that never really got classic training, or are you talking like hexes and cackling under the moonlight, naked, dancing around a fire kind of witch?
I suppose that's not really accurate to what I do, but yes, the whole hexing thing is quite accurate.
Okay, so you're the cursing type. Not our specialty. We don't get a lot of people who like to go with hexes and curses. No,
I mostly use patron knowledge for potion brewing.
He turns around. He turns to the man on the rocking chair and says, "Hey, do Mikhail. Do Mikhail." One moment. As he then steps away and then goes up to the rocking chair, grabs the back of it, and then vigorously shakes it. As the older man shakes in the chair, nearly thrown out of it, goes, "The air tide attacking again!" The trees that were speaking celestial to me. Oh, hello. How are you doing today? Response? I think that was no.
I suppose Hello Hello died.
Oh, it was dead.
I accidentally
All got
You
spooked.
muted yourself.
I accidentally muted myself.
I should have assumed.
Damn it! Damn it! The wizard keeps going around and casting silence on people.
Ah! Just fucking.
There's a
Um,
there's a what do you call it? There's a bard that follows you guys around and occasionally plays his bagpipes of silence right behind you. But yes, so yes, the minor PTSD flashback from this older wizard as he's almost half thrown out of his rocking chair, and it's like, the trees are speaking celestial.
The trees are speaking celestial. Is that what he said?
Yeah. Like, oh, back in the plaza. Okay. He sees like one, like, give me a spellcraft check.
The trees are speaking.
This
Okay,
man
but-
is astral projecting.
Is this an identify
Yes.
form of it? I suppose?
Not for a magic
Okay.
item, for a spell. So,
Uh,
yeah. That was just, honestly,
then in
that's
that case, it would be a 31.
Yeah.
It
So
would be
for a 31. You see that his hands were going through the somatic, like, hand gesture, for an empowered doubled lightning bolt.
Oh wow.
Oh,
Empowered twinned lightning bolt, I should say. This man
You
was
know
this
the-
man was about to carve twin trenches through the crowd on a PTSD
You-
impulse.
He's crazy.
You-
Jesus Christ.
You know the Comey stare? That's Holo Holo's face right now. He's just- I don't recommend doing that in the future. He probably would have killed everyone here right
Oh,
now.
he gets close to doing that just about every time somebody wakes him up from lunch. He's actually surprisingly good at restraining himself, at the very least on the last gesture.
Oh. Well, that's still frightening.
Oh yeah. Imagine living in a building full of people like that. Anyway, would you like to buy any of our incredibly suspicious magical goods? But I know, redact that. He wouldn't actually have said that. Besides which, the older man is currently addressing you, saying like, what was you looking for?
Anything that witches could use?
What are you looking for? You looking for a cauldron? You looking to bake little children into pies? Because I know there's a few of you like to do that.
No. Besides, if my patron saw me doing that, or anything with blood for that matter, I'd probably be dead right now.
I'm a little surprised by that. Most witch patrons are not so discerning. Oh, by the way, for the other players and for the people at home, I'm not joking. One of the hexes you can take is being a witch. One of them I'm not going to say because it very well might get me demonetized, or at the very least, the mod muted in some respect. But there is one that evolves out of that that allows you to just take people, throw them in your cauldron, and turn them into food.
Oh.
Food that empowers you.
Oh, good.
Yeah. If people are ever curious what the other one is, it's me off stream. Anyway. So. This. Okay. Right. Are you the type to cackle in the pale moonlight?
I don't think I am.
Ooh. I knew a guy back in the old fraternity. He really liked to go with the mad villain laughter kind of thing. He made something for I think it was for his girlfriend at one point. Didn't last very long. She was a bit of a bitch. I mean witch. She did inspire him though. He made something. Okay. Tell you what. I think I remember one. He kind of like totters off out of his rocking chair. The rest of the people are still in line behind you. Some of the folks at the stall have gotten to handling them, unless like specific requests. Meanwhile, this older one, Dumikael, is tottering over to one of the many boxes and chests kept behind the stall. He's throwing them open, digging through, discarding magic items here, there, thither, and hither. At one point, you think you hear something break. At one point, you think you hear the sound of metal hitting metal. And at one point, something goes sailing over your head and says, "Oi, watch it!" As it goes past your ear. And eventually,
Someone should probably go pick that up.
he'll pick himself up.
It can what?
Don't worry about it. As he then pulls out a little tin whistle. So, you're in the business of cursing people.
I guess so, yeah.
While he's asking that, he's sort of like hunched over. He's got the tin whistle like rubbing between thumbs and forefingers. This is almost like a worry charm, rubbing it. He gives you a sort of upward squinted look. He says, "Yeah, I respect that. We used to put the curses to good use against the Eridines. We made them scream. So I respect that. I respect not worrying about lines being. And there were a few in my unit and a few in my fraternity that saw things the same way. Now, part of the reason why my unit member's girlfriend didn't really work out, she was one of them baby eating types. He was under the impression that she meant something else about, giving her his firstborn. So it didn't really work out. Got into a duel on a hilltop. She turned into a dragon. He turned into a microorganism. She died. So there was something about a young boy and a sword, but I don't know. I think that was hogwash. Anyway, so however, he took some lessons in his fight with her and went on to make some interesting things, which we will put to use against the paladins and the inquisitors and all them crusading types. One of them was we had this one guy who just back in the schools, back in the classroom, he was all about the illusion magic. He was always about invisibility, muffling his movements, all that. He used to get around and prank the professors and the society members. Eventually, He'd put that to use on the battlefield. And he'd sneak into the enemy camp. He'd nick their food. He'd twist their undies together. He'd put vials of filth fever and lockjaw into the enemy's food supplies, and typical, normal things you do when you campaign. Until eventually we got the idea of my squad mate asked me, my unit member asked me, can you talk to him and tell him to bring back some hair? Yes, hair, he says. Sure enough, old Sneaky comes back with a couple of hairs plucked from the head of each of the members of the unit. And then he tied it into a little braid, put it through the loop. He gestures to a small, tiny little needle eye loop at the end of the tin whistle. Tied it, cinched it in place there. And then whenever he'd cast a curse, well, it worked like magic on him. Something about the familiarity of the tie to some piece of them made it so the curse hit just a little bit harder. Now, normally, we don't actually give these sorts of things out at fairs like this. These places are meant to drum up interest, not arm the civilianhood with hexes and curses and poisons and alchemist's fire. And at the mention of the words alchemist's fire, his eyes get a very faraway look.
Sir, are you okay?
Just watching the trees burn. But anyway, so yes, normally we're not in the habit of giving these things out, but you don't strike me as one of them Aerodyne Inquisitors. Nah. He looks you up and down and says, nah. Too obsessed with being pristine and curly, and I'm not going to dance around the issue too much. You're the wrong skin color that they'd ever accept you. So, bastards that they are.
Wait, I'd be killed if I went to Aerodyne?
No, not killed. Just not treated like people.
Oh, racist.
Kind of. It's weird. It's like there's some ASMR that have odd skin colors, but it's usually like bronze or green or blue or something, not shades of normal humanoid. They're very particular. They're discriminatory, but it's always against anything that's not ASMR, and you are very obviously not that. So, honestly, terrible vacation spot. Wouldn't go there anyway. Last time I went through there, I lost an arm. Does this gesturing with two very withered-looking, gnarly hands. Still,
Wait, then if you lost your arm, how do you still have one? Have two.
He looks you dead in the eyes, and then takes one gnarled finger, winks it up, and then points to the wizard hat on his head.
You keep arms in your hat?
Precisely, boy. I keep extras. I'm always armed at any time.
Cool.
Stupid.
Does a little
Hey,
jig back and forth.
you just-
and then he says, "No, boy. I regrew it with magic. I'm a wizard."
You just hear a distant tis in the background.
Some mage in the background with thaumaturgy or prestidigitation does a Yes, he finishes doing his little cackle and jig and goes, "No, you stupid boy. I regrew it with magic because I'm a wizard."
Is your name Harry?
What? No. What kind of stupid name is that for a wizard? I do have a lizard named Harry. He's very hairy.
Interesting.
He's also absolutely potty. Anyway. Point being, I don't think you're some spy or anything like that. I don't think you're going to curse everybody here in the crowd, make them dance until their feet bleed and turn into stumps or something like that. Not that that's ever happened before, but you know. No, I think you'll be okay with this.
May I try to further identify what this might be?
Sure. Give me a spell
Or okay. Nat 20 regardless, so 36 to 38.
God damn. So, short of being able to actually take the tin whistle in your fingers and inspect it, bring it up to your face and everything, going off the description he's made and the look of the thing, it's like by all surface level observation, this is just a normal tin whistle. There's nothing much about it. Magical side. Look closer. You see the way the magic weaves about it. And there is a very deliberate in the spirit of the way that this thing was constructed. The way you feel the magic in the other items on the stone, some of them were made with an impression of boredom, others with sort of whimsy, others with rage, and others with happiness, relaxing. Some with a tinge of depression. But this one's not just angry. This one wants to hurt people. The actual impression you get from it is absolutely something that will, at least to some degree, amplify hexes. Or at the very least, make them easier to execute. So, the way that the tin whistle functions is, well, you can use it like a normal tin whistle, which would require a perform check to play it, and depending on how well you play it, it's going to sound. It can sound good or bad. However, when played with a single sharp breath through it to elicit a loud squeal, everything that can hear, anything that hears the piercing screech within 100 feet, the DC on any hex save they have to make the next minute increases by 2. You can use this up to 3 times per day.
I do like this.
If you take if you take somebody's hair and you weave it into the little loop at the end of the whistle, if you weave it into the end of the little loop at the end of the whistle, you can weave any number of creatures' hair into it. You can also use things like string to create a chain out of like scale or flesh or anything else, anything that might be a solid piece or remnant taken off of somebody's body. You can then hang from that loop. If they are within that range, if that's on the tin whistle, and that same person is within that 100-foot hearing range, and they get hit by that, not only for the next minute do the DC for all hex saves they make go up, but also once per day you can force maximum. Yeah, this is good. You can once per day choose one person in that area for whom you have a body part hanging off the tin whistle to automatically fail a save against one of your hexes.
Hey, that's pretty good.
He kind of like brings the thing to his mouth. He fingers it a little bit. He twiddles through it as he like places his fingers across the little holes in the tin whistle. The other hand bringing the slide up and down. As he then waits for you to deliberate and inspect it. Then eventually takes it away from his lips and says, he particularly liked using these against any of the officers in the opposing force. He had a big thing against them for some reason. He kept a sash with all their badges stitched to it.
Trophy hunter?
Oh, definitely.
That's respectable. This thing has quite the amount of malice in it.
Oh, for sure. I'd be surprised if it didn't. He was a hateful old bastard. He died cursing them.
Well, that's not.
Hey, it makes the...
What,
It's what... I wouldn't be surprised if a little piece of him lives on in this thing. Cursing people even past the grave. That's kind of how magic items work sometimes. You put a little bit of yourself into them when you make them.
Oh no. This is a cursed item, isn't it?
It's a cursing item.
I see you, Ram. I see you.
how much are you willing to part for it?
I don't know. This is a very sentimental piece to me. He was a stubborn old bastard. I remember him very well. What's your first offer?
Hmm. Are you the type to also be interested in potion brewing, poison brewing?
I do enjoy a good poison.
Hull's gonna take out one of his vials of silent silver, and he's gonna gently pass it over to the old wizard.
Gently, with long gnarled fingers, clenching the top of the vial, forefinger and thumb, he brings it to dangle in front of his eye as one bloodshot eye bugs out and inspects the length of the vial. And then that single eye, not in sync with the other one, wanders to meet one of your eyes in deadlock. You used this before, boy?
No, but I know what it does. I made it myself.
I respect an inventor, but you've got to try these out first. You never know how effective they're actually going to be. It's just trial periods. You have anybody you can try it out on? Looks down at your capybaras.
No.
Well, what good is a familiar even for then? You insist.
because if I do it, I'll be dragged to the bottom of the sea and ripped in half.
That's a new one. Most familiars just threaten to shit in your pillowcase or something. Got an interesting one there. Right, which familiar is very different. Anyway.
Also, I'm not that cruel.
I'll let that pass on that one. He looks the up and down and goes, so you took a organic poison and you mixed it with a metal.
Mm-hmm.
Novel idea.
A rather potent.
Novel idea. But you never know how that's actually going to work out in person until you try it out. Though, points for creativity. It's also very hard to administer an antidote when all people are looking for one set of symptoms, but it's actually two poisons that work. Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll take the vial from you. Because you're probably going to want a spare. In case the first one breaks or something. If that happens, don't get it on your fingers.
I have 5 more vials of these things.
Rookie numbers. You'll get there eventually.
The tower I was at didn't have enough. material.
Get a better tower then. What are you doing?
I don't think I want to tell. I don't think I want to tell his mom. Question mark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I want to tell his mom that.
Huh?
If I ever meet her.
His response is, get a better tower then. And then if you can't do that, a lot of this, you've given me, you paid me in an idea. I'm like, whatever your tower is, our university has stipends, and I'm old and I have tenure. So I can basically just rob their ingredient cupboard blind and they can't complain. So I can recreate this probably pretty easily. But thank you. And this is something new. I don't really have much of a supply of mercury. If it ever happens again, try this out. I'll let you know how it works. That'll knock some off the price. What else are you gonna do?
You need Remoraz organs?
Remoraz organs. That's a bit far from here. Okay, now we're talking. That's kind of exotic. Been inside of a live Remoraz boy.
Yes, I have. In fact, I got swallowed by it.
There we go. Yeah, you're never a true adventurer until you've been eaten by something.
Yeah, was it fun?
It's not supposed to be fun, boy. It's supposed to be educational.
I suppose near death is very educational.
Oh, indubitably so. So then,
I also have some moonberry antivenom.
Oh. Oh. Would you say so? Do you have any moonberries left?
No, just the antivenom.
Mm,
I was being a little paranoid, and I thought the assassin squad sent for us would have carried it, but they
you even
didn't.
had assassins coming after you. You've really been living the Quadranon experience. Bully for you, boy. Well, then, in
That
case,
happens here?
I wouldn't consider having a variety of antidotes on you as being paranoid. I think that's just careful planning. But what do I know? I'm just a crazy old man in a rocking chair. But anyway, my respect for you has gone up a couple of notches. Give me a dose of that antidote. It's
I'll gently hold it out.
I don't
Pin the antivenom.
I don't really go out and pluck moonberry much anymore. Nothing else than if we over harvest them.
Also milked a couple wasps with my friends.
Oh, well. Hope you all had fun.
It was heart racing.
Good. The adrenaline rush is all part of the ingredient gathering experience. But yes, we don't want to over harvest the moonberries because if the most poisonous berry in all of the continent goes extinct, then what do we do after that? It would be such a loss for us overall.
Makes poisonous metals and nightshades.
But yes. So he takes a while and says, between this and the idea for the poison, how much got on you?
Oh, 3,278.
You really should look into getting a sponsor.
Yeah, we're looking for jobs.
Yeah, living to work. I remember when I did that. Well then, I'll take it for an even 1,000 gold.
Deal.
So then, exchange the money, and he hands you the tin whistle, and he says, "No pleasure doing business with you, but go give it back."
I think I will.
Experiment on some people. There's morally justified targets just about a few kilometers north of the border.
If they go to stab me first, I'll tell you what happens.
If you were one of my students, I would educate you on the importance of preemptive strikes, but I won't because that's something I charge for.
What's your name?
Hmm?
Your name.
He stares at you for a moment and says, "I have a name?
I mean, don't we all?
You?
Yeah,
What? Nobody tell
I
you."
think.
The older man at the stall goes, "It's Dumekyle. That can't be my name. That's a silly name."
Sounds like the name of a wizard to me.
Looks at someone else. Well, I do suppose I am a wizard. Ah, what would you say? What did you say your name was?
Holo holo.
Holo. I see. That's also a very silly name.
You know what? I guess it is. It just means like a happy journey.
Oh, that's a very silly name for a very silly meaning for a very silly name. I like it. Then
Well, finish.
off you pop. You're ruining the view. Also, I've got he kind of totters back over, slumps into his rocking chair, and says, "I've gotta catch up on my beauty sleep."
One last question. Actually, before I head out.
He's rocking.
What
He's rocking back and forth. And he goes, "Yeah, huh?"
What would you do with a staff full of negative energy?
And how much a mega of energy? We talking like, I don't know.
A necromancer's crypt worth of it?
That's a very wishy-washy metric, young man.
The kind where if you're putting all that energy into one staff, it nearly kills you?
Well, if it nearly killed you, then it can't be that much. Let me think. Well, if I had to say, it's really not something we usually deal with. But if you want to break a cursed staff, or you want to deplete the negative energy in it, well, there's really only hate the fact that this is the case, but there's only really some people you can go to for that kind of thing. You gotta seek spiritual guidance, Sonny.
Thank you for the input. And thank you for the whistle.
Yeah, a priest gotta be useful for something.
I think I know a pretty useful one.
Be careful with that. It takes more than just a little bit of blasting with positive energy. It's probably gonna need a ritual of some kind.
That's fair.
And then he
Now what?
once more slumps back into the seat, pulling the hat over his eyes.
Starts loudly snoring already.
Basically, yeah, immediately. As soon as you lose sight of his eyes, he's snoring already.
What should I write this thing down as in my inventory, by the way? The whistle. Like hexing whistle or something? Or does it actually have a name?
Sin whistle.
Sin whistle. I see. Behold, a war crime.
Mm-hmm. Congrats.
Like,
Got the wizard equivalent of a Vietnam vet.
yes, I see. The trees speaking celestial.
And here I thought I was gonna be the first one to get something more crimey.
To be fair, this is the man whose entire like archetype for his class is based around making poisons. So you know.
That is
Oh
fair.
yeah, I can imbue I can imbue poisons into my hexes as well. So this is gonna be especially
Very nasty.
deadly. Yeah. So did he take that vial of poison, or did he just take like the idea and said, "Hey, keep the vial"?
He
I
took
can't
the
remember.
idea, but he did take the antidote.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Which, admittedly, by the way, is probably a... That might mean that we might end up seeing it at some point. And I know what that fucking thing does, you piece of shit.
You did drop out there, like you were quiet for that for a second. What are you referring to?
The poison.
Oh, okay.
Now he's gonna start making it. That means there's 2 people who are gonna start making it.
Yeah.
I don't know what that guy's gonna do with it.
Oh, purely. putting
Listen, as long as we
use.
don't have anyone that's part of Aerodyne here, I think we're pretty good. I think that's who's
No,
on his like.
There's no ASMR among the group, so it's fine.
There's no ASMR amongst our group. We'll be fine.
You know what? Yeah. Oh no.
You all are perfectly safe. It's fine.
It's
Not gonna
okay.
see a wizard
It's
crawling out of the bush with a
actual-
knife clenched
There
between
are
his
no
teeth.
ASMR in Basing Say.
Yes.
I would try to fabricate it.
There's not gonna be some wizard like in camo Tanfleck or something like that crawling out of underneath the bushes with like a what do you call it, a Bowie knife clenched between his teeth as he fires off rapid fire magic missiles.
We're gonna run into a wizard in like a ghillie suit who has like a staff of lightning bolts.
Yeah, just zaps him out. Well, no, that's the thing. That's what we'll go. That's not an Aasimar. That's our heretic demon. A filthy, disgusting demon. Look at their gross horn. Put your halo away.
What kind of action does it take to blow the whistle?
Standard action.
Standard action. Okay. That's evil.
So, I feel that has everybody at least partially addressed. We'll shift perspective once more. To the bathhouse.
I was just gonna say I do have to go make food.
Now?
So.
Okay. We are about. Oh, we are almost 4 hours into the session. I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, in that case, we would be potentially wrapping up soonish. The session did fly by. That does tend to happen when the group decides to, like, diverge for a while.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to say, for the sake of brevity, as well as not overly belaboring a point, as if I never do that.
Get on with it.
Get on with it. Anyway, yeah, Siren, Karia, and Quick have a pretty nice time. You guys are free to like roleplay that between yourselves outside of session if you wish. But the way I'm kind of gonna go, because it's nothing of super big consequences going to happen inside of a bath, except for whatever might happen between the characters. But you're.
What do you mean?
You're
You know
charged.
the local bathhouse murder scene. You know.
Oh, of course. But yes, the whole situation would go by rather smoothly. It's 200 gold for all 3 of you. And that's not individual. That's just 200 for the group. The experience would have been warm, refreshing, cleansing, with all sorts of various scented oils and soaps on offer, lined up next to the tub. It would have been a big stone tub set into the floor, with continuous hot water pouring into it.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Nice.
And on request, they would have people who would be able to come in and give you professional grade massages, help you with any sort of like orthopedic issues you might have, help like unstiffen joints and crack your back, things like that. Hot stone massages, basically the full spa treatment if you really wanted it. is what, like 200 gold would get you the full trot, the full spa.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Siren would get her feathers polished.
I see.
Very, just very gently squeegeed with a little brush.
Yes.
Very gently cleaned, and then between the little follicles, they're combed. That's right. Yes. So, I would say we're next session. We'll be picking up, I think, probably sometime either in the evening or the day after. As you guys have had a nice little wind down from the thorough what the fuck that was last session. Or the session before that, actually. Because last session was therapy. For some of us. Right. In that case, to leave on a slightly anticlimactic note, eventually you guys would all reconvene. I believe Shaiko mentioned a wish to go to the Institute of Magic at some point. We can address that. I think I would like to address that outside of session to keep things brief. I am trying to work harder on trying not to float sessions too much. I'm trying to find ways.
And that's why and I don't know if you noticed that, but I do honestly do my best to get my things out of the way that could be split.
I appreciate that. So yes, we'll find ways. We will grow, and we will find new ways to speed up as well as improve the experience. So, eventually the group would reconvene for consulting and going out, sightseeing, experiencing new stuff, getting a new item. Now once more in the inn room. Eventually going to go get, as all of you must sleep eventually. And feel free to discuss what your next plan of action will be before next session happens. Because there was some, I believe there was some conjecture and was some mention of potential goals and things people might like to do, but I don't believe there was ever a consensus on the direction to go. Besides, like, stopping in Lorbus, and then after that, who knows?
Yeah.
Please do discuss that as a group. That's what the Discord channel is for. Thank you very much for playing, and for the folks who watched, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Yay.
Thank you for hosting.
It's a relatively slow session.
Nice and calm.
It's nice to have one like that every once in a while.
Thank you for rewarding me with a war crime.
You are.
Why are you looking for other war crimes right
That's
here?
it. I'm going to create one.
No.
It's not a competition.
I'm going to commit some.
This is not even me looking at Chaiko and just hexing that fucking maddening poison into Chaiko.
No,
You think I'm not mad enough?
that's not very friendly fire.
Yeah, that is very friendly. Your intelligence is now 1.
Oh boy. So
Yeah.
I think I'll call that. I am definitely starting to feel sleepy myself, so it's a good time to cut off.
Indeed.
It's a pleasure. Hopefully, Frey, you recover from your being down with the sickness, and everybody else. I will hopefully. I don't know if Frey's going to be in shape to run Genesis tomorrow. I hope. But also,
Well,
don't push yourself.
I'm
tomorrow
fine.
Easter?
In fact, tomorrow is perfect. But tomorrow is perfect because my child is away. But it's Easter, so
Right, yeah, Easter
I don't know if
Sunday.
people have plans.
No.
Yeah, I know. I don't have plans.
I will most likely have plans. Yeah, I'll be with family tomorrow.
Yeah, it's okay. Happy birthday, baby Jesus, or whatever the fuck the Easter is. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's not his
Christmas
birthday.
is when Jesus. Yeah, Christmas.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Easter is when he came back.
Easter
Yeah.
is the bunny.
It's
It's
also
fucking Jesus.
immortality.
Red.
Yes. Good night, everybody. Thank you very much.
Lisan al Gaib.
We'll see you either.
Good
We'll
night.
see you hopefully.
And
Hopefully tomorrow. Probably not. I don't know, guys. We'll see. We'll see.
We shall see.
We'll see
we'll
what shape.
play it by ear.
We'll see what we'll play by ear. We'll see what shape Frey is in, and what kind of attendance we have. But at the very least, I hope to see you
Yeah.
soon.